Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hooking products. Visit Titan.
PB9010T. Walk behind PCS sweepers and get the Echo PB9010T for free. The Lawnmower Hospital has pet safe, plant safe ice melt too.
Series stock pitch. Rangers taking full advantage. Crazy thing was. No, look away. To 8 to score.
It's simple. With 2 RRSP options to fit your goals. Choose a secure term deposit RRSP with guaranteed returns or a mutual fund RRSP.
Is it on the move? Matthews trying to stay with it. Back the other way.
If you manage or lead a team, join your peers April 14th to 17th at the Banff Management Course. PA Douglas Training invites you to 3 days of immersive leadership development in beautiful Banff, Alberta. Learn how to manage conflict, motivate and influence others, strengthen teamwork, and improve productivity. Proudly Canadian, PA Douglas has trained over 150,000 professionals. Registration includes 3 nights at the Banff Springs Hotel, breakfast, select meals, refreshments, and course materials. Register now at padouglas.ca.
Looking for the perfect gift? Give the gift of great taste with a Loca Quality Market gift card. Redeemable at any Loca Quality Market or Loca operated restaurant. It's a treat for food lovers. Ready anytime. Grab yours today at loca.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show.
But pulls it on the move. Matthews trying to stay with it. Back the other way.
On Sports 1440.
Series stock pitch. Rangers taking full advantage. Crazy thing was. No, look away. To 8 to score.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Reacher off, able to protect the puck.
Hello, Wicked. Can you guys put those up? Wicked Wednesday afternoon. How are you? Welcome to the Jason Gregor Show. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you're listening. Hope you're watching the show. Always thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. The Oilers in Calgary to wrap up the pre-Olympic portion of the regular season. Of course, the NHL will finish tomorrow. There's 7 games tomorrow night, but the Oilers, like many teams, will not be playing then. They will be jetting out to various places around the world, usually in a warmer location, as they get set to enjoy a few days off. Oilers, we'll get into last night's game for the Edmonton Oilers. And last night, like a lot of what has happened lately for the Edmonton, They have good parts of their game, and then they have some ugly parts of their game. And right now, ugly seems to be winning out over good. So we'll touch on that. Also, dig in a little bit to the penalty kill, because a lot of people talk about how the penalty kill has been brutal all year. That's not true. It's been brutal since January 22nd. Did you know in the first 2 months of the season, the Oilers' penalty kill was 80.6%, which is 25 games. Sorry, 26 games from October and November. Then their next 25 games, exactly 80.6%. The Oilers, after 51 games, were 11th in the NHL in penalty killing. Not dominant, but definitely fine. But their last 6 games, they have hit the ditch. They've allowed 8 goals on their last 18 kills. Last night against Toronto, the game turned on a power play. Now, I actually had a bigger issue with the Matt Savoy call by the official than I did the Janmark. Janmark clearly high-sticked him. There's no debate on that. But the Matt Savoy penalty, they call it the interference of the blue line. I was like, oof. I didn't love that call in a 2-2 game, really. But either way, it's made. And you know what? You can get through it. But it's really hard to get through it when 6 seconds later, you take a penalty when you high-stick Matthews. Can't do it. You can say, there should have been a holding call. But there wasn't a holding call. And because there might have been a holding call, it doesn't distract from the fact that you high-stick him in the face. Can't take that penalty. It reminded me, remember against Vegas, was it game 5 in the playoffs? Janmark, high-stick call. It's kind of the same play. And when you're not scoring goals, and Janmark has a total of 7 goals in his last 192 regular season games. 7 in 192 games from the start of the 23-24 season. Okay? Like come on now. It's not good enough. Now, I get why it was on the penalty kill. As I mentioned, they were 11th. Penalty kill was fine. Now it's hit the ditch. And I wrote it at Oilers Nation. I looked into it, like, what's changed? Nothing. One slight change was the allocation of minutes to the blue liners. That's really been it. You got the same guys up front. And actually went through the games. Pittsburgh had the third best power play when they came in here. They didn't score. Then the Oilers gave up 3 to the Ducks. Granlund scored 3 power play goals. Now, if you go back and watch that, 2 of the goals came on Evan Bouchard, didn't clear the puck. Darnell Nurse had a chance, didn't clear the puck. Wasn't like the plays themselves were awful. It was just the execution on clears in that game. And it was like a lack of attention to detail. Last night, it's a 5-on-3. For the first 50 seconds of that 5-on-3, I thought Nugent Hopkins, Bouchard, and Ekholm did a pretty good job. They didn't really give up. They gave up 1 shot. It was an easy stop. Ingram read it well, came across the crease. One-timer from distance. No problem. Then if you look at the pass they made, Ekholm got a piece of it with his stick, and then it went down low to Tavares. Easy goal. Not much you can do there. Now, if Ekholm doesn't touch it, is it still going in? Maybe. It's a 5-on-3. Like, if you can get out of a 5-on-3 for a minute 54, that would have been a miracle usually. It's hard to do. But then the next goal. And if you watch that second, now it's the second unit power play out for the Maple Leafs. And they go from top left, Max Domi, down to the right side. And if you watch it, it's a split-second decision, but Connor McDavid has a stick in the wrong place. He's facing up ice, but he has a stick in front of him, so it leaves the entire high to low pass open. Now, Michelli's a little bit of in Draisaitl's area, right? And it's a slight hesitation. McDavid's stick isn't in the lane. Pass goes through one-timer, because you can't ask your defenseman to go that far out to protect the one-timer, right? Doesn't happen. Can't do it. So, one little mistake. I looked at the other. It's not like their penalty kill has suddenly just fallen off. It's been leaking goals, yes. But it's not because they've changed the system or anything like that. But they will, they've just got to find a way to stop it. Now you're taking on the 30th ranked power play in the NHL tonight, the Calgary Flames. The Calgary Flames are the lowest scoring team in the league. My goodness. This should be the game, because this is what happens for the Oilers penalty kill. They'll have like a stretch of 10, 12, 15 games, and it ruins the whole season numbers-wise. And this has happened every year, it seems. was it 2 years ago? Like they were like 55% through their first 15 games. The rest of the year, they're actually good. But at the end of the season, you're still only 23rd because your penalty kill was absolutely bunk for a long time. And so for the first 51 games, their penalty kill was 11th best in the NHL at 80.6%. Just outside the top 10. You take it. But 6 games, it falls apart. And now they've dropped down to 23rd in the NHL. That's how quickly it changes. So they got to get their penalty kill back on track tonight. They only took 2 penalties. They just happened to be 6 seconds apart. So it led to both goals and boom, game's over. They had some good chances. Couldn't bury it again. Like Leon Draisaitl, I think he's got like that one Nashville game. That's it lately, or not even Nashville. He scored on the kind of the one-timer from out high, but it wasn't even on the power play. Like, for whatever reason, they can't connect on that power play anymore. He gets the shot, but he didn't elevate it. He had Stolarz twice, couldn't get it up. But, like, I'm sorry, that's a 2-2 game. You're playing a team that's played their 3rd game in 4 nights, second half of back-to-back, and you lose. It's unacceptable. The Oilers right now can't get out of their own damn way. And they got to be better. And, hey, like Matthias Janmark, yeah, okay, kills penalties. And for the first 51 games, okay. But he's on the ice for goals against, and he cannot score. I just outlined it. 7 goals. One of them is an empty netter, by the way. So it's 6 goals with a goalie in net in his last 192 games. It's like 2.5 years. Like, you can't be a 3-goal scorer and play 12 minutes a night. Come on. He's not hitting. He's not fighting. What the hell is he doing? Right? And then you bench Mangiapane in the second period. That wasn't even a terrible giveaway. I actually thought Tavares just did a good job checking the puck off his stick. Mangiapane, that was the most engaged he'd played all year. And oh, by the way, Mangiapane has 6 goals this year. Janmark has 6 in the last 2.5. And you're telling me that Janmark has to play every game ahead of him? Come on. Like, I get it when coaches, they don't like a player. But number one thing in the coach's handbook is you have to be aware of your bias and say, wait a sec. Let's look at everything else here. You can't say, well, Janmark's going to play a minute. And by the way, do you know what he averages per game on the penalty kill? It's not even 2 minutes a game. So you're going to keep a guy in the lineup for less than 2 minutes a night because he's okay, not great. He's okay on the penalty kill, but he can't score in the ocean 5-on-5. Come on. At some point, you got to recognize those numbers. So we'll get into all of that. Also, Ryan Pinner will join us from Flames Nation. Rich Winter will be by today. We got a fantastic guest today on Business of Sport. I think you're going to love it. Spec DVD will be by. Also, probably go out to L.A. Artemi Panarin is a member of the Kings. Liam Greentree and a 3rd-round pick that might become a 2nd if the Kings win 1 playoff round this year. And then Panarin signs a 2-year extension at $11 million. Yeah, I love that deal for the Kings. They are desperate. Kopitar's retiring. They're desperate to get some offense. So I like that deal a lot. So let's talk about that and more as we get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Ice Center, new state-of-the-art entertainment facility in Nisku. It features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and restaurant with a view and area. Check it out, Silent Ice Center, as we're joined by former NHLer, current analyst at the NHL Network, Mike Rupp. Joins us, Rupper. How you doing, my man?
I'm good, Greg. How are you, bud?
Oh, I'm pretty good. Better than the Oilers on home ice, I'll tell you that. They went 5-12 and 5-7-1 in a 13-game stretch between December 1st and February 3rd when they were at home ice for basically the entire time. Like, they were good on the road in 4 games, going 3-0-1, but they sucked at home. And the only saving grace for them is that Vegas can't win either. So they still sit atop the turtle race in the Pacific Division. But let's start with the Panarin trade. And what do you make of that deal?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the LA Kings are in an interesting position right now. I mean, they've got Seattle Kraken tonight. They win that game, they're in a playoff spot. And it was kind of crazy. And I know all year we've been talking about how close everything is, but 24 hours ago, Seattle was 3rd in the Pacific. They lose last night to Anaheim and then potentially lose again tonight. That's how quick things can change for you. And now you're getting a shot in the arm for a team that has a hard time scoring goals. Artemi Panarin is a play driver as far as his points. So, yeah, I mean, I like this. I wonder how much. I know some people are probably talking about, is this Ken Holland trying to give, Anze Kopitar something as far as, help this team right now? They've been kind of an unimpressive team this year. So, yeah, and maybe this puts the Kings in the playoffs. They get that extension. I just think from the standpoint of the Rangers, the more we're starting to learn about this, as far as retaining 50% of the salary, as far as the 2-year extension at that price, which is a little bit less than what he makes now. I personally don't understand why they wouldn't keep Artemi Panarin and try to make something happen there. I know the player wanted to stay in New York, and there really hasn't been an offer since last summer. So I don't know. It seems kind of strange to me, but they get Liam Greentree, who is a fine prospect, 6'3", he's got some size on the wing, maybe in like a Will Cooley mold of some sorts, and he's been pretty effective for the Rangers. So, yeah, I don't know. I think some Ranger fans might be wanting a little bit more out of this. I have been told, I know that some of the reports out there is that Panarin would only go to the Kings, and I'm told that that's not true at all, that there are some other teams out there. So, yeah, I don't know. It's probably best to move on at this point for him, the player, and the team, the New York Rangers. But I think it's going to be tough for the Rangers moving forward, trying to bring along some of these young pieces. And you're going to have someone to give them confidence and give them the puck. And they don't have that right now.
No, they desperately need it. And I love this trade for the LA Kings. It's hard for me not to like it. Yeah. It's a short-term deal on Panarin, who I still think is a pretty good point producer. It was interesting listening. It's funny enough that you listen to Jacob Trouba's comments saying, man, I'm having more fun in Anaheim than I had the last few years in New York. And, Anaheim, they're competitive now, but it wasn't like they were competitive last year. And it seems like there's a lot that, like, New York is like Vancouver East. Lots of drama, lots of unhappiness around that organization.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that you're dating this back a while when you're talking about the way some of the things were handled. And, yeah, I think that when you're talking about that team, they're going through it, and you see your teammates, the guys you love, that was a pretty close-knit group dating back to the Goodrow, Trouba, Kreider, the guys that were all there in New York, and the way that I think, felt they were treated or disrespected. And I think it permeated through that room. I think that there's a lot of, it was just been a fractured group. And so I don't know what's been done to try to repair that, or if something's been done. But it's, you got another unhappy camper that I'm sure is going to be taking some shots here and there on the other side. The Rangers are a team that is, they had a lot. They seem like they were pretty close, and man, did it drop quick.
God, did it ever, right? You go from President's Trophy. Same with Vancouver. Like, those two teams were President Trophy teams,
yeah,
and are now lottery teams. And, some people might think because the Rangers have Shesterkin, I might say, hey, they still got a chance to turn it around. But Vancouver lost Quinn Hughes. They've lost JT Miller. Who else might they lose? I don't know, but they're in for a little bit longer of a rebuild there than the Rangers. But the Rangers lose Panarin, and I'm sorry, Mike, but it's not like they can just replace a point-a-game guy, right? Like, Liam Greentree, I know, is a very good junior player, and we'll see what he does pro. Hopefully it turns into it, but that's a big loss for the Rangers at a time when there's no real big-name free agents you can go out and sign to replace your point-a-game players.
No, so I think you look to the next piece that you potentially will move, and I think the one that will get the best return is Vinny Trocheck. Now, like, I don't know what prospect, what team, whatever you want to kind of throw out there as a situation, they need to strike big with it. They need to try to maximize some of these players and these young players coming in, but you need someone to bring them along. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying Artemi Panarin has to be the guy, but to your point, there's not a bunch of high-end. Like, Artemi Panarin is one of those players who, plain and simple, makes players around him better. And I'm very nervous as to, I know that there's, Alexis Lafreniere hasn't lived up to the expectations that I think people wanted. well, what's that look like now? Because he was playing with Artemi. And so you talk about a couple years ago when it looked like Lafreniere was ready to take this next step. Go on and on. I mean, Mika Zibanejad, I think, was the one guy this year that's been really good for the Rangers. But what does that look like when Artemi Panarin's not there? Like, there's a lot of question marks for a team that is, quote unquote, retooling. It feels a lot more like a rebuild to me.
Yeah, it totally does. Mike Rupp joins us here on Sports 1440. Rupper, out in the East, man, the race is heating up. The Islanders had a huge win last night. Matthew Schaefer just continues to roll, man. Like, you thought the rookie would maybe slow down. He's not. He's up to 16 goals now. Had another big game. The Penguins get a point. They lose in overtime. But the Columbus Blue Jackets, Rupper, they're up to 63 points. They've won 6 in a row. They got 2 games at hand on the Islanders, and they're 4 points back of the Islanders. Do you think the Blue Jackets have it with their coach? Can they put themselves here and really push the Penguins and the Islanders for one of those final spots in the Metro?
Oh yeah, they're a problem. I mean, they're a problem. The way that they're playing. I mean, they win last night in New Jersey, and they got no Kirill Marchenko in the game. You have Elvis Merzlikins, who's his game's found form. They're a big bodied team that skates hard. They can do a lot of different things out there. So I think as far as that Metro division, I think last night's regulation win against the Devils more or less puts them out for me. And I just don't see them recovering from that. I think they needed to win the Devils last night in regulation and then tomorrow night against the Islanders in regulation. So is tedious as it is or sounds, last night's regulation loss for me puts them out. Yeah. Now you move the targets onto the 2 teams that are, let's park Carolina in 1. I think they stay there. The Pittsburgh Penguins and the New York Islanders, they're vulnerable. I think both teams are vulnerable. They've been great stories this year, but you're starting to get into the nitty gritty now where that's not going to carry you. The way this team in Columbus is peaking and the way that Rick Bowness has them playing, I think they're a problem. I think one of either Pittsburgh or the New York Islanders make the playoffs, not both. I think the Columbus Blue Jackets, the only one that I think might have a chance to upset the Columbus Blue Jackets in this process is the Washington Capitals. But if it's not them, I think Columbus gets in.
Yeah, I like them a lot. What about Washington? Concerned about them?
Yeah, I'm kind of concerned about them. I think that when you're talking about team builds, I mean, that's a team that I really like how they're built. And you can go to different parts of this year and look in totality. Logan Thompson has been spectacular all season long, and that's kind of, their team has slipped a little bit, and their goaltending injury issues right now are a problem. But this is a team where I like the sum of its parts, and it still kind of feels like we're still going to see a hot Ovechkin run at some point, because that's just what he does. And he hasn't been lights out. He hasn't been lights out, I mean, for a couple seasons now, but he has moments where he can carry and he can have 10 goals in 8 games. It kind of, for me, feels like that's coming here at some point. But yeah, I think that is certainly a team that can get one of those 3 spots. And that's where it's at. If you're in the Metro, you want to make the playoffs, you got to go top 3. I think you got 5 out of the Atlantic. And so it's going to come down to the Islanders, Penguins, Blue Jackets, and Capitals for 2 spots.
Mike Rupp joins us here on Sports 1440. Rupper, I've seen hot streaks, obviously covering Connor McDavid for as much as he does, but Nikita Kucherov is on the heaters of heaters right now. This guy, since the calendar turned to 2026, he has 39 points in 15 games. McDavid, who's 3rd in the NHL, has 25 points in 16 games. Kucherov is averaging a full 1 point per game more than McDavid, for God's sakes. He's at 2.6 points per game in his last 15 games. It's unreal what he's done, and he's put himself back in the picture for not only the Hart Ross, as he's 5 points out. He's right in there for the Hart Trophy.
These guys are all nuts. You know what I mean? Like, And I know that we've talked a lot, and deservingly so, about McKinnon and McDavid. And Kucherov was kind of the afterthought this year just because he hasn't been to the form that we're used to seeing from him. But as much as McKinnon was the dominant piece and factor for a big stretch, then we saw Connor get going and just an unrealistic and crazy pace that he's on. And then Kucherov starts going. So it's like, I think that drives each other. Those three guys are the exceptional, by a decent margin, point getters and drivers in the National Hockey League. But what he's doing right now is phenomenal. He's got this swagger to him. And when he feels that way, I mean, I don't even think of that tying goal in the outdoor game. I don't know if you remember that the shot was incredible as far as going short side upstairs on Jeremy Swayman, but just even he almost like slashes and he probably could have called a penalty on it, but just pushes the guy out of the way with his stick and just backs up one step and lets her rip. And it was funny, Greg's post game, he was walking out to I was covering it down there in Tampa, and he's walking out of it like a family skate type thing at the end. And he made a comment about the ice wasn't good, kind of yelled over to Patty Maroon, who I was standing there with. And I was like, oh, the ice wasn't good. You would have gotten 8 points in the game if the ice was good. And he goes, I would have gotten 10. So the guy's feeling it right now. He was kind of joking around, but man, when he's like that, I mean, he's right there as far as getting points with McDavid and McKinnon.
Well, he's outscored both of them over the last 3 years, right? And he's a winger.
Yeah.
And so, man, I look at Kucherov right now. Do not count him out. It is a 3-horse race. I remember you were talking about, hey, we want 2 guys going head to head. And Kucherov must have heard that. He's like, hey, wait a sec. Don't count me out, because he is legitimately right in. And
what's he out now?
He is 5 points back of McDavid for first.
Ooh.
That's it.
Wow.
Yes.
That ate up quick, because there was a decent margin there.
Dude, he's made up 14 points in the month since January 1st. 14 has been, he's gained 19 points on McKinnon in that time. 19. He's 1 point back of him now. Sorry, 18 points. He was 19 points behind McKinnon on December 31st. And now it's February 4th, and he's 1 point behind McKinnon.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it is really, really ridiculous. So the other trade, what'd you make of that Bukestad trade?
Yeah, it was an interesting one. I mean, I kind of told you what I thought. I think the Devils they're going to have to go on an absolute run. I think they're done, but I mean, they clearly don't if you're adding a piece like that, or they're trying to set themselves up post-Olympic break to position themselves to go on a bit of a run. But yeah, they could have used that a long time ago. I mean, that would have helped them before now. I don't know. I don't pay too much attention to it. There's no knock to Nick Bukestad.
Yes.
I think he's a very serviceable player and can help out. I just think it's too little too late.
Yeah, well, I was kind of surprised by the deal. Like, obviously, they feel that, hey, we're still in it, but I'm with you, man. I don't and now Thomas Borderlow, whatever, he's a young guy. I don't think he's ever going to play, to be honest. A little bit too small, used to be in the Sharks organization, and you get a conditional 4th rounder. But, I look at the Devils, and I wouldn't be shocked, man, if in 2 weeks that Bukestad gets traded from New Jersey somewhere else, because I don't see the Devils at all being a team that's going to get in the mix. It just, if you look at it right now, because they're farther, although Boston and 3rd place is pretty close between the Islanders and Boston now. But you look at the New Jersey Devils are in 15th place. They're 10 points out of a wild card spot, 9 back of the Islanders for 3rd. And so I guess you got to win that game in regulation, but you got to jump Columbus and Toronto and Washington and the Flyers and the Panthers. Like, come on, it's not happening.
They're 4-10-2 in the Metro. So at the end of the season, when you wonder why you don't make it in, that's it right there. And on the flip side, the Penguins were 10-1-4. You know what I mean? Like, you have to win your divisional games. They haven't done a good job of that.
Yeah, very true. Rupper, always good to catch up with you, buddy. Have a great day.
All right. Thanks, Greg. Enjoy.
That's Mike Rupp from the NHL Network. And yes, if you missed it, the big deal today in the NHL, Artemi Panarin is now a member of the LA Kings. So the Pacific Division gets another scorer in the Pacific. That's huge news for the LA Kings, who they don't have the offense. Like, Panarin comes in. Now, you got to remember, he's been sitting out for a while. He's only played 52 games, but he leads the Rangers in scoring. So they just traded away their leading scorer for a third-round pick that could become a second-rounder if they win a round. And for Liam Greentree, who's a good young player, highly sought after. Is he going to become Artemi Panarin? I don't know. But Panarin's 57 points. He's got 19 goals, 57 points. He'll come into LA, and that's 12 more points than Adrian Kempe. So, hey, that's a legit top-line guy that's going to come into LA. That's a big boost for them. So you look at LA, and they're battling Seattle, and they're battling Anaheim. And really, I guess in a way, they're battling Edmonton because they're 4 points behind the Oilers, and they got 3 games at hand. This makes the Pacific Division, which right now has been very much a turtle race, lots more entertaining. So come back, discuss that and more on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Make your game day feast better with Papa John's. Create a mouth-watering pizza lineup with buffalo chicken, all the meats, the works, ultimate pepperoni, or create your own pizza possibilities. Now through Sunday, February 8th, get 25% off pizzas at regular menu price with the promo code BIGGAME at any location in Alberta. Order at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app with promo code BIGGAME. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
And now Action Electrical's testing team is on defense duty. They're the guardians of safety and compliance, a critical part of any lineup.
Precisely. They perform rigorous safety and code compliance testing for commercial operations. Think of them as the referees, ensuring everything is up to standard before disaster strikes.
Their preventative plays are legendary, spotting faults early. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Your Prospects Hockey League's 4th season is underway. The JPHL offers elite athletic and academic opportunities across multiple AAA divisions. With over 55 teams, the JPHL is redefining the family experience by making elite hockey financially accessible. All games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV, featuring a showcase-style schedule and competitive matchups. Learn why the JPHL is Western Canada's fastest-growing elite hockey development stream at juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
Measles is very dangerous during pregnancy, increasing the risk of many severe health-related complications. If you're planning to become pregnant, make sure you have received 2 doses of the vaccine at least 1 month before conception. Don't get measles, get immunized. Visit alberta.ca/measles to find out if you're up to date and what to do if you're not. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Portions of this hour brought to you by UL. Get your power play amped up with UL, supplying the City of Champions and Alberta with quality electrical gear since 1975. UL.ca is your partner in power.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$2:33. Welcome back on a lovely Wednesday afternoon. Happy hump day. Or hey, they're just trying to get over the hump. Just try to not go into the break on a 3-game losing streak. I know they finally win 3 in a row, and they end it by losing 3 in a row. That would be awful. Especially, last night you're taking on a team that played their 3rd game in 4 nights, second half of back-to-back. Not good. Tonight you got the Calgary Flames, who have not been good. But you know what? The Oilers, they're not in any position to overlook anybody. None whatsoever. The Calgary Flames, yes, they're 29th place team in the National Hockey League. And they have kind of been there for much of the season. Hasn't really changed a whole bunch. But if you just look at them since we turned to 2026, the Calgary Flames they're 30th. They're 4-9-2. They've scored 30 goals in their last 15 games. They average 2 goals a game. Like, you're telling me the Oilers can't score 3 and limit the Flames? Like, if you can't limit the Flames, what are you doing? So they better, they got to come out ready to play and be committed in all facets of their game. That's what they need to do. Also, former Edmonton Oiler Caleb Jones has been suspended 20 games for violating the terms of the NHLPA performance-enhancing substance program. So he gets 20 days without pay. I said this last year, and I'd say it again. Now, in this case, it doesn't really matter that much. It's not like Caleb Jones is a big-time influencer in the game. But to me, if you get a 20-game suspension for violating the substance abuse program, you should be ineligible for the playoffs that season. Full stop. That's what it should be. That's what it is in baseball. I love it. If you get caught cheating, now you can come back. You can finish the regular season. You get paid, but you cannot play in the playoffs. That's what everybody loves, is the playoffs. Should have had it last year for Ekblad. I think it's something the league should easily address and do it sooner than later. Don't keep your head in the sand thinking that there aren't guys in your league that are willing to cheat. Just stop it. Clearly there are. Otherwise, wouldn't have guys testing all the time. Now, I know that, it's always some, although I will say, Ekblad just said, yeah, I cheated. Away we go. But Caleb Jones, his quote was, "I've been informed of my positive test, yada, yada, yada. At the time of the test, I was receiving an exosome therapy for a documented injury from an outside provider. I believe my positive test was related to a contaminated substance associated with that treatment. Well, I did not use the prohibited substance intentionally or for performance enhancement. I understand players are responsible for everything that enters the body and accept the discipline imposed by the program. Sort of let down my teammates, the Penguins organization, and our fans." So here's the thing. First of all, now I had to look up exosome therapy, right? It's a non-invasive regenerative treatment that uses stem cell-derived vesicles packed with growth factors to stimulate skin rejuvenation and tissue repair. Okay? So, right, boosts collagen, reduces inflammation, all those sorts of things, right? Great. It seems, though, that it's primarily used for anti-aging, reducing fine hairs and scars, hair restoration, skin rejuvenation. So what is he telling us? Now, he said he was doing it in connection to another injury. Like, did he have road rash? Like, honestly. Like, when I looked it up, I was like, okay, it has to do with laser treatment, micro needling. What are you talking about? Like, I don't know, man. I don't have much time for like most guys. Yeah, you know what? I took it. Cheated. Whatever. But I think the NHL, it's 2 years in a row now. 2 years in a row. Implement MLB's rule. If you get suspended, you're ineligible for the playoffs. It's very simple. Simple. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Brent Sake's going to join us. World's longest game is upon us once again. And man, I have to say, I hope that the weather cools down a little bit for the ladies and gentlemen who are playing in that, because when the ice starts to get a little bit soft, it is even worse for it. Hey, Greg, said last night just screamed to you that the Oilers' top need is a legit goal scorer with 97, bump 93 back to third line center. Special teams role, balance out the 5-on-5 minutes for the top 9. Buddy, I've been saying this for months. Good to see more people getting on board. And I firmly believe when the Oilers return to action 3 weeks from tonight, which will be the 25th of February. I think that's when the Oilers, if I'm not mistaken, right? They play the Ducks on the 25th of February, coming out of the break. Yes. And the Kings, Artemi Panarin. I think Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, for a variety of reasons, will be the third line center coming out of the break. I think the team is better if he's a center iceman. You could also probably put Roslovic back. It's been a month now. Like, Jack Roslovic was playing great. Why is he not playing with your two best centers? He's your most productive winger after Zach Hyman. What are we doing? So I would move him there. Put Nugent Hopkins at 3C. See what happens. Still think they'd like to go out and get a winger, can score. And I know a lot of people talk about Columbus, and I said it yesterday on the show, and watching them last night, the Boone Jenner, Charlie Coyle wish list for Oilers fans, I don't think they're on it. Columbus is right in the mix, man, for the playoffs. They're 4 points out with 2 games in hand. And I think they play Chicago tonight, Cons. Is that correct? They play Chicago tonight? I think it is. So they
do, yeah.
Yeah, they play Chicago. So that's a game that they should win. You do that, you're in a even better spot heading into the break. So and then they got 4 or 5 games coming out. I don't think unless they lose all of them, I don't see them falling out of it. So I don't think that those guys will be on the move by the Columbus Blue Jackets. So we'll see. We'll take a quick break, and we'll return and talk about a little perseverance and commitment next. Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
I'm Livingston, president of Cantork. We've been tightening bolts and redefining our industry for 25 years. Yes, a quarter century. And we're just getting started. Check us out at cantork.com. Our tools age better than I do.
You know what would be even better than winning gold?
Okay, I'll bite.
Winning a gold medal made of Wilhauk beef jerky.
Athletes do get hungry, and they could use a snack on the podium. I think I'll start a petition.
Really?
No. Now pass the Wilhauk and turn up the games.
For a truly Canadian snack to cheer on our truly Canadian athletes, you need Wilhauk beef jerky, made with Alberta pride right here in Leduc.
Performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicked things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything's safe and sound before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Happy New Year. I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you for everything in 2020. We fed almost 500 families. We donated to various charities in the Edmonton area, and we're going to do it again in 2026. Please stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Sleep is for the off-season. What off-season? Sports 1440 is live, loud, and locked 24/7. Oilers, Elks, Riverhawks, Stingers, Oil Kings. We've got your fix. Edmonton's home for sports is Sports 1440.
Friday night calls for a family fun that's second to none, starting with a big party.
It's the Oil Kings mascot Louie's birthday bash, presented by Bloom Benefits.
Edmonton faces the Moose Jaw Warriors. Local mascots will be in the house for Louie's big day, and every fan in attendance gets a card for their chance to win a fun Louie prize.
Plus, 4 Calmont Kids food combos for $10 or less. The value is lion-sized.
Oil Kings Warriors, Louie's birthday bash, Friday at 7.
Great seats at Rogers Place start at only $20 at oilkings.ca.
McValue breakfast meals are $5 plus tax every day. Get a sausage McMuffin, bagel with cream cheese product, or breakfast burrito with hash brown and small coffee, all for just $5 plus taxes. Available until 11 a.m. at Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
We continue on. Gregor, Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Oilers in Calgary tonight to wrap up their portion of the season before the Olympics. Of course, if you missed it, Leon Draisaitl, flag bearer for his German. That's a big honor for Leon. He was pretty fired up about the possibility of even being in consideration for it, and got recognized for it. That's a big deal to be a flag bearer for your country, for certain. And he is jetting off to Germany. I think first thing tomorrow. Might even be taking a red eye tonight. I'm not 100% on that, but he'll be going over there quickly. The Oiler game tonight, in case you missed it, is a later start. Puck drop just after 8 o'clock. Also, there'll be another puck drop coming up for the world's longest game as we go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical, one of Alberta's most diversified electrical contractors with 4 specialized divisions in product, service, testing, and solar. This is their 53rd year serving Albertans. That is Action Electrical, and we are joined by the gentleman who is the brainchild behind this. It started over 20 years ago and has grown and kicks off again tomorrow, world's longest game where they will play hockey nonstop to set a record and, more importantly, raise a lot of money for the cross cancer. Dr. Brent Sake joins us. Saker, how you doing, my man?
How you doing? Good. How you doing, sir? Thanks for calling me gentleman.
Oh, wow. Geez, every now and then you got.
I pick up on those things.
Well, I love it that you're outside. I see the rink in the background. And I know when I had the honor of getting to play in this event 20 years ago, the ice was pretty soft for the first few days, and we were praying for some cold weather. So now I know that the facility has changed since then, but and your ice making skills have probably improved. But how much of a concern is the early heat wave here for you guys?
Yeah, we got lucky because it snowed, a few nights ago or so. And so I just kept the snow on the ice. And in the one corner, I dumped a bunch of snow. So by tomorrow, 4 o'clock or so, I'll clear the ice and it'll be perfect underneath. So we got lucky just because it snowed. So it's really hard ice underneath. And then we start at nighttime, and yeah, it's kind of -1, -2 type of stuff, which means we're still making ice, and we got lucky. A few degrees in the other direction, we'd be in a little trouble probably. But the guys, and including my wife, she's the head of the Zamboni crew this year, and Zambarni's kind of number 1A.
Okay.
But And she's making ice all night, like midnight crew, et cetera, kind of thing. So we got about foot, maybe 14 inches of ice, so we're in good shape.
Okay, wow, I love it. And now, hey, you've learned a lot over the years, Brent. But the one thing that's always been the main focus for you is to raise money, and not just raise money. You put a lot of you like to know exactly, specifically where the money's going every year. You have you always have a plan. Where's the money going this year to help out in the cross? What type of new machine are you looking at?
Well, it's an incredible program actually, and I'm lucky that we kind of got tied to that. It's a $9 million project that the Alberta Cancer Foundation started with the Toast of Edmonton and the Cure Cancer Foundation. So it's been a conglomerate of a number of charities trying to get together to do a lab at the cross for CAR T cell therapy. The thing that's magical about it is currently it's for blood cancers, and if somebody needed that treatment, it would cost about $500,000 to do. So unfortunately, not everybody gets the opportunity to have that done. Because we got to take your blood, send it down to the States, come back, and then they treat it. If we get this room done, which people have been working for years to get this done, and it's at the point where the doctors are there, the room at the cross is already built out, so everything's ready. The nurses are ready to go, but they need $1 million more, and then the equipment's sitting on a shelf waiting to be purchased. So we get $1 million, that lab will be set up, and the first patient will be treated on August 26th for many different types of blood cancers. And that's just it warms my heart. You can probably hear it, but that we're going to be able to do something and make that kind of impact, and just finish the door. Because if we don't do it, ultimately, it's not like there's just money sitting there. It's not how it works in fundraising in the world. I don't have to explain it to everybody. They need $1 million, and then they can get it done. So that's our job.
Dr. Brent Sake joins us, of course. World's longest game gets going tomorrow at is it? You guys start tomorrow night at 6, or what time are you starting at?
We're having opening ceremonies at 8 o'clock. Lieutenant Governor's coming, which is unbelievable for us to have that honor, and other dignitaries. And then the puck drops at 9 p.m.
9 p.m. Okay. And what's the goal this year? What are you guys up to? 260 hours an hour? What the hell you at?
261 and change in minutes. I don't know. Everybody keeps asking, but only my sister Brenda. She's the gatekeeper of the exact time, and she won't tell anybody. She only tells Guinness, and so it's around 261-ish.
Around 261-ish. Okay, I like that. And so for people who want to come, because I know that, you have schools that come out to watch and cheer on the guys. And having been a former player, I can tell you get into the dog days of this, and today, like day 1 and 2, everybody's excited. Woo, this will be great. And then you hit day 4 and 5, you're like, oh my God, what am I doing here? But it's still fun, don't get me wrong. But it gets a little trial. And I know you guys there's lots of schools that come out, but just having people that come out at different times of night. I still remember when we had the young boy who came directly from the cross, man. I'll never forget that. Like 3 a.m, and it was the coldest night, and we're all sitting on the bench. And now you've kind of got like luxury stuff now compared to what we had 20 years ago. And I still remember how when that young boy came across, he's just freshly out of the cross cancer with his dad, and he wanted to give us the money and was all saying how you guys are great. And there's like 10 grown men in that bench. We're all like trying not to, every guy's trying not to cry. And the next hour is like the fastest game. So I know there's always, a different storyline that no one expects, that somebody comes there, whether it's a mom or a dad or a child, somebody who has cancer. And it motivates the guys to keep going. So I strongly recommend that everybody, take some time starting tomorrow night at 9 p.m. up until the 16th to come out and visit it. The easiest way, Saker, is just go straight east, right? On
east
on Y Road.
East on Y Road, past the airdrops. If you just keep going east to Range Road 220, turn south, and you'll see a bunch of signs there. There's a Esso Laughing Llama gas station, we call it out here. You just turn turn right or go south there, and you'll see a bunch of signs and lights. And as usual, my neighbors are very, very, very patient because it's noisy and there's lights everywhere on this road for about a week and change. But yeah, please come and visit us. On a note, that young man you're talking about, he just passed away, so a little sad. But he wasn't supposed to when he did that, Jason. That's 20 some years ago, and he wasn't supposed to make, like, we're talking weeks, we're talking months, unfortunately. And the treatments that we were able to do for what we were doing at that time, he was able to get some stuff done, you know.
Okay, well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And now people can go to, you just Google world's longest hockey game and it'll come up. I'm looking at it right now. It's very easy to, and people can donate right on the page if you can't make it out there, but stop in, support the guys. Now, do you need more volunteers as far as referees or anything like that?
I think we're full up on referees, but we really could use we could use physiotherapy, chiropractic, and also massage therapy if that's something people are able to do. Just go to the website and there'll be a volunteer email thing, and we'll get you signed up and hooked up, and away we go.
Okay, awesome. So people can come out there and just volunteer their time to help out, keep the players active. Now, I know over the years the rules have kind of changed here. They become a lot more strict. And I remember even when we played, you said to have the certain guys on the ice, like, because people always wonder, like, what are the rules? Can you kind of, for any of our new listeners, update us on what the rules are that you have to adhere to? So not only do you play all the 261 plus hours, but you actually could set a world record.
Yeah, the simple rule is there's only 40 players allowed. So whatever 40 start, they have to finish, or less if people get injured. But you can't bring in players throughout the time. It's just 2 teams of 20 players. That's what you start with, and that's it. The players have to stay on site the whole time. They can't leave. So we've got a huge RV lot in the back, basically, with all the campers and shacks set up back there. And we look after everybody from there. The game, you're right. It's not like the first few days where the pace is a little quicker and it does slow down, but ultimately we have to play in what Guinness calls the spirit of the game. Meaning, if I'm leaning on the boards doing an interview with somebody, the game's over. Like for that second, or I'm just kind of hanging out, maybe talking to friends and whatever, we can do that, but we got to come on the ice. If we do that while we're on the ice, Guinness will just say the game's over. You have to play continuously. You can't stop.
Yeah. So it's nonstop. Now, is it true? Is Carius coming? Did he volunteer to be the massage therapist helper this year? Is that correct?
Oh, there'd be a lineup. All right.
Now, how many guys, Saker, or how many veterans have played in all of them? I know you have. How many others?
Yeah, my cousin Darcy and buddy Curtis. So just the 3 of us left that have played all. It's this pretty cool year though. The new guys, and there really isn't a lot of new guys. I'd say maybe, I think 4 or something. When I say that, meaning there's some of the new guys are Jamie McCormick. He's got his son and son-in-law playing. Darcy Hominick, my cousin, he's got his 2 boys playing now. Moose has got his kid playing. So there's a really cool things, like guys have been doing this for 4 or 5 games now, are playing with their kids, which we need, because I'm pushing 60, so at some point we gotta pass the torch. My son's biting a bit, but he's got to be 16, so he'll play next game, and still trying to talk my daughter into it. We'll see.
Okay, well, that's awesome. Now, is your wife playing again this year, or is she running the Zamboni?
Yeah. Oh no, she's playing again. We got 2 lovely ladies playing this year. Janelle's playing, and a friend, Maria Nienema, Yanni Nienema's sister, is going to be playing in net this year. So, yeah. So he's passed the torch on to her now, because he had his tour out here a few years back. But and that's kind of what it is. I don't consider her a new player. because she was here the entire time when Yanni was playing, and she knows the math. She's brought her family here from Sweden, and enjoyed the game last night and stuff. So it was all good.
So she watched Yanni, her brother, playing it and said, you know what? I want to do that. And so now she's come over to playing it. That's amazing, man. I love, because it is, I will say there are definitely, like anything, there's certain times where it's a little bit of a low, but there's a lot of pride when you can finish that game, because some games are worse than others for sure. I know some guys the one year had frostbite and, some real dangerous frostbite, and other years when it's too warm, then the ice sucks, but it's you get through it and you feel it, but you feel a sense of pride. And, the other thing is, unfortunately, cancer doesn't really go away for a lot of the people. And, the pain of this will go away, but the memories won't. So it'll be awesome. And I'll see you out there, Saker, because I know my son's already asked me about it. We took him a few in the past. So we'll stop in and say hello sometime over those next 11 days,
Love
man.
it.
So best of luck. It's unreal what you guys do. It's always inspiring. So keep up the great work. And we look forward to coming out to Saker's Acres to watch a few minutes, a few hours.
Thank you. And I just want to thank our community for supporting this, because like anything, after 20 years, you have to expect something has a deadline or a lifetime. And that always worries me. But if the community keeps supporting us, we'll keep doing this forever. And I love it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Saker. There you go. That is Dr. Brent Sake. And man, that guy gives a ton, raises a ton for charity. And if you've never been out to his facility, I went there a lot. You should have seen the baseball diamond he built. And they played the world's longest baseball game. And the diamond, it's the same dimensions as the old Yankee Stadium. He's a huge Yankees fan. Like, it's phenomenal. Even has some of the infield stuff from Yankee Stadium. It's crazy. But their rink, it's phenomenal. Like that ODR, it's like the best outdoor rink going. And, the dressing room, to play for, it's coming up on 11 days now for these guys to play that long. You've got to, you hope that you have some decent facilities, and they've got multiple Zambonis to make sure that the ice keeps going. And because you have to, like Guinness, this is no joke. You can't just kind of screw around and take extra breaks. Like, they time it. You only get a certain amount of allocation every hour. I think it's 10 minutes to flood the ice once, and that's it. And everybody's got to be back on. You got to start right on time. And they got his sister, Brenda, and she's in there. And you know what? You're herding cats sometimes to get the guys out of the room and make sure everybody's on time. So it's a great thing. So if you haven't seen it, I recommend checking it out. It starts tomorrow night at 9 p.m. and runs through until February 16th, which of course ends on Family Day. We'll take a quick break. We will return there on Sports 1440. Coming up in the next hour, we're going to talk lots more about the Oilers. Hey, how about the Panarin trade? The Calgary Flames, you're getting Devin Cooley tonight. I know some people might think, you're getting the backup. That's good. And Cooley's been way better than Wolf. Cooley's got like a .921 save percentage, and he's played 9 of his 15 starts against playoff teams. He's been really good and better than Wolf. And I'm actually surprised that Wolf's played 40 to the 15 of Cooley. I thought they might have closed that gap a little bit, but it's almost like a 3-to-1 ratio. And Cooley's play, he should be playing a little bit more. So I wonder if that happens down the stretch here for the Flames. But the Oilers get the better of the two goalies this year anyway in Cooley tonight for the Flames. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. At Fountain Tire, they focus on one thing, your vehicle. From tires and wheels to oil change and vehicle repairs, they have you covered. Visit fountaintire.com and book your appointment today.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
It's game day as Edmonton Oilers playing their final game before the Olympic break. Puck drop 8 o'clock down in Calgary, taking on the Flames. Pre-game coverage here 6 o'clock with Andrew Walker. In case Mr. Leon Draisaitl has been named the Olympic plague bearer for Germany. Elsewhere around the NHL, Jets taking on the Canadiens, Blackhawks, and Blue Jackets. Avs host the Sharks, the Wild in Nashville. Red Wings taking on the Mammoth Canucks in Vegas, and the Kings hosting the Kraken. Speaking of the Kings, big deal as they bring in Artemi Panarin from the New York Rangers for Liam Greenstreet and a conditional 3rd-round pick. He then signed an extension with the Kings, 2 years, $11 million AAV. Also, St. Louis Blues trading forward Nick Bustad to the New York Rangers. In the WHL, Oil Kings in Medicine Hat at 7. UCHL, Saints host Vernon at 7. And in the AJ2 games, Devon hosting GP while Bonneville's in Fort Mac. In the association, the trades continue. Dallas Mavericks trading 10-time All-Star Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum to the Washington Wizards for Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley III, 2 first-round picks, and 3 third-rounders. Also, Philadelphia 76ers trading guard Jaron McCain to the OKC Thunder for a 2026 Rockets first-round pick and 3 second-rounders, while the LA Clippers, Brooklyn Nets, and Toronto Raptors agreeing on a multi-team trade, sending Chris Paul to the Raptors, Ochai Agbaji, a 2032 Raptors second-round pick, and cash to the Nets. The Raptors will not require Chris Paul to report to the team. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll talk some Kings with John Hoban of Mayor's Manor. We'll also preview tonight's BOA with Ryan Pindert from Flames Nation and ask 5 questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business. And for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck
afternoon, how are you? Welcome.
Pop in, and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free.
The Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440.
Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Welcome back
Whether
on
you're
a
a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Shoulder pain. It can make even the simplest things like reaching up, lifting a bag, brushing your teeth, or sleeping frustrating. Rotator cuff strains, impingement, arthritis, they're some of the most common issues we treat every day. I'm Grant Fedoruk, and at Leading Edge Physio, our team brings postgraduate training, evidence-based technology, and just the right amount of humor and humility to help you feel better. Because we never forget the most important part, the gratitude we feel for every patient who allows us the opportunity to care for them. Because life shouldn't hurt. When it does, leadingedgephysio.com.
Do you listen to sports radio at work? Like right now? Well, do you?
Who, me? No way. I swear.
Okay, friend, we won't tell. Tens of thousands of sports fans listen to Sports 1440 each and every day. On the radio, on the listening apps, on YouTube, and on social media. If you listen to Sports 1440 at work, well, maybe it's time to advertise on Sports 1440 at work. Grow your business, get your name out there. Shoot our ad team an email, Gregor@sports1440.ca. Let's get to work for you.
Action Electrical's projects team takes the field, folks, ready to execute the entire play for new commercial builds.
Absolutely. They're masters of design, build, sketching strategy from initial blueprints to core electrical infrastructure. The team never misses on complex projects.
Known for handling big league constructions and major renovations, ensuring flawless execution, hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
Make your game day feast better with Papa John's. Create a mouth-watering pizza lineup with buffalo chicken, all the meats, the works, ultimate pepperoni, or create your own pizza possibilities. Now through Sunday, February 8th, get 25% off pizzas at regular menu price with the promo code BIGGAME at any location in Alberta. Order at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app with promo code BIGGAME. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
They're not just a grocery store. They're a butcher, a baker, a cafe, deli, rotisserie pizza, and restaurant, all under one roof. Loca Quality Market does food differently with 2 locations to serve you. Edmonton and Sherwood Park. Visit loca.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 3 o'clock. It's like I'm dreaming in studio. All of a sudden, TV just went out. So we'll get our ace tech tactician on it, Connor Halley, to figure out what is up. I think he just has to hit the refresh button every now and then. Boom, magically it is back. Welcome back to the show. It's Wednesday afternoon. Final game before the break. For the Oiler fans, maybe you need a break because you're probably being a little frustrated. You have all these home games. Since December 1st, the Oilers had 13 home games. 13. And they won 5. Like I'm telling you, in a business model, you want to win games at home. You're paying season ticket holders. They don't want to be going to games all the time and lose. 5 out of 13, garbage. Garbage. Yeah, you're nice. You watch the game at home, but there's just something different. It's different for people who pay money to go to the games. You want to see a few wins. You don't expect to win every night. No one wins every night. But 5 out of 13, when you got a lot of teams playing second half of back-to-backs, 3rd and 4 nights, like, it was just a terrible home stretch for the Edmonton Oilers. They did have 4 games in between. Now, the Oilers have been good on the road lately. That's kind of their saving grace, right? They went 3-0-1 in that span since. They got Calgary tonight. Then they come out of the break with 3 more games. So there is not a home game for basically a month for season ticket holders or those who go to, pick, maybe you got a pack and you maybe go to 1 game, 2 games, whatever it is. But so the Oilers will have after tonight, because obviously the trade freeze for now is on. They can't make any trades. When they return, the Oilers will have 4 games before the trade deadline. They actually play on the night of the trade deadline, Friday, March 6th, against the Carolina Hurricanes. But the trade deadline, Oilers have 4 games. In Anaheim on the 25th, the 26th in LA. Then they're the 28th in San Jose. Then they got a few days off. Then they play Ottawa on Tuesday, the 3rd of March in Edmonton. And then it's a trade deadline on the 6th. So you're going to have 4 games to see what they can do. And you look at some options for different players. And I talked about it earlier here. And like I go to playalberta.ca, and I will say, if you click on playalberta.ca, the Jason Gregor Show, we always have some odds boosts and specials. You can check those out. But I was just for fun. I'm looking on the website, and you can always usually the guys who don't score very many goals, Spencer Stastny's, Ty Emberson's, those guys have longer odds. But like Matthias Janmark, there's no forward on either team who has a longer shot to score a goal most nights than Matthias Janmark. Why? Because he doesn't score anymore. He skates fast. He's a smart player, but there's not much happening. Like at some point, they have to look and say, okay, yes, we have him on our penalty kill, and the Oilers penalty kill, despite what some people you'll read online because they just look at the overall numbers, to the first 51 games of the season, the Oilers penalty kill was 80.6%. It was 11th best in the NHL. Basically, it was consistent. First 2 months of the season, 80.6% on the dot. The next 25 games, 80.6% on the dot. So very consistent through the first 51 games. But suddenly they've fallen off a cliff here in their last 6 games. They've allowed 8 power play goals and 18 chances. But the thing is, when you dig into it and you look and say, okay, Yeah, you know what? I like Matthias Janmark, but can you like a player that virtually gives you one goal every 30 games? Can you do that? Like, I just don't think you can. Like, at some point, the coach might have to look and say, hey, maybe the Matthias Janmark I love. Now, I know in the playoffs he scores. He has 7 goals in 40-some games in the playoffs. Great. But in the regular season, he sucks offensively. And I think he's got a shoulder injury, so maybe rest him. Just my thoughts. Anyway, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Let's go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's, and Frank's Red Hot is bringing the heat to some of your favorite McDonald's menu items. Dip into the new Frank's Red Hot menu, available only at McDonald's for a limited time, i.e. this month. So check it out at McDonald's. And big trade today before the trade freeze came down. The Los Angeles Kings have made a deal, and it's a pretty big splash. They acquire Artemi Panarin from the New York Rangers in exchange for prospect Liam Greentree and a third-round draft pick that can become a second-rounder if the Kings win a round in this year's playoffs. And then they signed Panarin to a 2-year extension at an $11 million AAV. So it's pretty good. John Hoven, the mayor, joins us from, of course, he's from Sirius XM, of course, Mayor's Manor, Kings of the Pod. And John, this was, I love this trade for LA. You get a guy extended on a short-term deal. You get him at an AAV of 11 mil, so slightly lower than what he's making right now, to a team that desperately needs an offensive driver. And the one thing Panarin does is he can bring you offense.
Well, Greg, you're on it, of course. When the deal is announced at first, because the news sort of drips in on a deal like this, a lot of moving pieces. Panarin to the Kings, you first go, oh boy, hold your breath. Let's see how it's going to play out. But as you get in deeper into the weeds, 50% retention, only a 2-year extension, not the 4 or 5 year deal that, had been rumored over the last month. It's not a $50 million commitment by the Kings to, a 35-year-old player. There's a lot to like about this trade, and it's exactly what the Kings need in terms of offense. They need more goals. This is a point-per-game player over the last 8 or 9 years, on pace for 30 goals this year. He'd be the leading goal scorer or leading point producer on the Kings if he had been with LA all year long. And they get another right shot, something they desperately need in the lineup as well. So if you're Coach Jim Hiller, you have to be excited tonight knowing that you have another offensive weapon that's going to be joining you here over the next 24 hours.
Yeah, now I'm assuming he's not playing tonight, obviously not, or is he going to play tonight?
Right.
Right. Okay. Yeah. He
not expected to play tonight, but yeah, they're working on getting him to Vegas for the game tomorrow night.
Okay. Obviously he would slot right in on the first line, kind of a Captain Obvious thing, I would think. But when you look at kind of big picture, are him and Kempe going to be like winger mates?
It's interesting that you said right to the top line. First of all, because there's a lot of debate in Los Angeles. What is the top line? Is Anze Kopitar still the center, the 1C, or has Byfield taken over now? Personally, I think I would put him with Byfield. That's my initial reaction. I think it's easy to say, yeah, put him on a line with Kempe and Kopitar and let him eat and get some points up there. But knowing that they've sort of moved guys around and they're doing things by committee, and giving Byfield that type of a weapon could also potentially unlock in what you're going to get with Byfield. They've been waiting for Byfield to do more, knowing that Panarin can create from the wing. That actually could help ultimately give them more offense. But my best guess here is going to be that over the final, 30 games of the season, they have an opportunity to really test drive him in a couple of different positions. And then, of course, where is he going to fit in on the power play? Obviously, he would be on PP1, but who's going to be out there with him? Because the power play has been going through a lot of changes throughout the regular season as they've tried to get things going, especially with guys like Kuzmenko coming in and out of that first power play unit.
Yeah, well, that should definitely help. And, there's something like, I look at what Quinn Hughes has done to Minnesota, right? He comes in, he's a legit number 1 defenseman, and it moves everybody else down. And so Panarin will come into LA, and there's no question he's a top line winger. There's no debate on it. I don't even care who his center iceman is or who the other winger is. He's a top line guy. And two things happen. It takes the pressure off of some other guys who just simply aren't capable of producing at a top ranked level. And it gives some of them other matchups like this. This could have a real positive trickle down effect for the Kings because they've desperately been looking for a point a game player here for a while.
Well, you took the phrase right out of my mouth. It is trickle down, absolutely. And when you look at some of the most significant trades that they have made over the last probably 20 plus years, it's been those trades that have had that type of an impact on the rest of the lineup. And there are so many guys, whether you're talking about Warren Foegele, Kuzmenko, Trevor Moore, on down the list that have struggled at times this year, and guys that have admitted to being frustrated, maybe gripping their sticks too tight. This relieves some pressure from those guys to maybe just go out and play their game, knowing that the Kings, they just need a few more goals. It's crazy to think about in this up and down season that they've had this year, that they interplay tonight just 4 points out of first place with the game in hand. Two critical games coming up tonight against Seattle, tomorrow against Vegas. It's crazy to think about where this team might be sort of positioned coming out of the Olympic break. And a big part of that is now this renewed optimism, not only among the fan base and the coaching staff, but those players in the room, like you're talking about. They're getting a legitimate top-line winger, point-per-game player, a guy who can put the puck in the back of the net and is going to help give them and should help give them that offensive boost that they've been waiting for all year long. And then all of a sudden, without that pressure, now other guys perhaps can maybe start contributing as well. So there really could be that trickle-down effect that we're talking about.
When you look at the Kings, and Kopitar, we know is going at the end of the season. They battled some injuries for sure this year, but the Kings, kind of like the Oilers, because the Oilers have not played very well at all. They're very lucky that the Pacific Division, Vegas has been inconsistent. Anaheim had a great start, and then they won 2 out of 15. The Seattle Kraken, I still don't think are that good, but the Kings are right there despite not really playing that well.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody in the Pacific Division right now is the beneficiary of how terrible this division has been. It's up for grabs, not only for the Kings, as we talked about just a moment ago, but really for a number of different teams, including Edmonton and Vegas and Seattle and on down the list. And if anybody can get hot and win 8 out of 10 games, they could even start to put some separation between themselves and perhaps the rest of the pack as well. So this is the first of what will probably be many trades within the Pacific Division, because the Sharks are said to be in it. They want to add. They probably have to move a couple pieces out for contract and salary reasons first, but they want to add. Anaheim was kicking the tires on some players they're interested in adding. This is just really a seller's market right now. So it's going to be interesting to watch these other teams and see what they're willing to give up, how much they're willing to mortgage the future. That is the flip side of this deal for Los Angeles. They did give up their top prospect in Liam Greentree. Sure, he probably wasn't going to be in the NHL for another 2 seasons, so it's not something that GM Ken Holland, who is rumored to, be here for a short time, not a long time in Los Angeles, it's probably not going to be a problem on his watch. The Kings are loaded up. They're very focused on winning around this year and going on a playoff run in this weak division. So, but I think it's the first of many moves that you'll see around the Pacific, because other GMs will have the same mindset. Hey, this is a good year to go for it, because the competition is pretty weak in the Pacific Division.
Yeah, it is in the regular season, no question about it. And you look at teams, because I look at the Atlantic Division, they got guys with more points, but I look and say, well, is Detroit, Montreal, how good are those teams in the playoffs, right? We haven't seen them for a long time, so I don't know. I've always said this, LA could have easily won around. Edmonton's just a terrible matchup for them. I think they could have beat Vegas. And I think if you're the LA Kings, you look and say, you know what, let's just play anybody but Edmonton and see what we can do.
Last year was the year. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you go back to the first year of the run, they were in that series and easily could have won that series. They were up in that series. They had an opportunity to win that series. Very competitive that first year. And then I think when you look at last year, it was on their stick. Last year, the Kings should have beat the Oilers. They didn't, so all credit goes to the Oilers, for closing out that series. But the Kings definitely had an opportunity last year and had a good team and had momentum. Since the Kuzmenko trade, they were one of the best teams in the NHL last year, especially on the power play. It was just one of those things that it settled everything down and it got everybody excited, and it all came together at that right time. And if they could have gotten by the Oilers, coulda, shoulda, woulda, I totally understand. If they could have, though, it would have been interesting to see could they make it past the second round, and exactly how deep they could have gone. Last year, with the way that Darcy Kemper was playing and the way that the group had sort of come together, there definitely is an opportunity, or was an opportunity, for that team to go on a very deep playoff run. It didn't happen. So now they're back at it, and they're trying it again this year. And, Ken Holland had been preaching patience since July, and he believed that if they just sort of stuck with it and hung around long enough, that then he would be able to pull off a trade that would help build some momentum for the Kings. I still think there's another trade to be made. I think that before the trade deadline, I still expect them to add a center. The question really just becomes, do they go for broke and really add someone in a big package like Pettersson out of Vancouver, or do they, do something more, what I would consider a smaller deal, in the sense of getting, sort of an older player and a guy like Charlie Coyle, who still is very effective, just isn't that top of the lineup type centerman that they're looking for beyond this year.
Yeah, and I don't think Charlie Coyle is going to be available. I think the Columbus Blue Jackets, man, they are pushing. They are red hot. I think that organization, they want to make the playoffs. The Islanders, the Penguins.
They're not helping the Kings for sure.
No, not at all. I think those, like, a lot of people here in Edmonton have talked about Coyle and Jenner for a long time, and I don't know if either one's going to be available here when we come out of the break. Especially Columbus beat Chicago tonight. Now they've moved within 2 points of the playoffs, and they got games at hand, and they're red hot. So, and then we come out of the break, John, and we got like 4 or 5 games max for some of these teams. Yeah. So it's that's what makes this trade for the Kings. Like, were you surprised they were able to get Panarin on such a short term at a very reasonable $11 million?
Well, just real quickly to follow up on your other comment too, those games for Los Angeles coming out of the break are as critical as these 2 games going into the break. They're going to see Vegas again. They're also going to see the Oilers again. So a lot of Pacific Division action between now and that trade deadline, and very few games. But those games are those, proverbial 4 points. In terms of, was I surprised? What I was the most surprised about is the fact that they were able to get it done with a 2-year extension. That to me is really the win. Back to your first question about early thoughts on the trade, is that when you first hear the Kings made a trade to get Panarin, you kind of hold your breath, wondering, okay, what's coming. But when you get a 2-year extension and you get the salary retention, and quote unquote, all you really gave up was one prospect, granted, your number one prospect in Liam Greentree, but this trade could have been far worse. It could have been a package. It could have included a first-round pick. It didn't. It could have included a couple of seconds. It didn't. So you just start to look at this trade, and, for all the grief that Ken Holland has taken as the general manager here in Los Angeles, and for some really questionable deals, Edmonton knows all about it with Cody Ceci, et cetera. I think this trade is a win for the LA Kings as we sit here today. Obviously, they have to win a playoff round this year for it to really make a lot of sense, because if not, you start to question, okay, did they mortgage too much of the future and really not get any results? It's very important to the organization that they win around in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, key. And obviously, if they win it, so they give up a second rounder instead of a third. That's a trade they'll make all day long. You're not even going to think twice about it, because you need a play. They haven't won a playoff round, I don't think, since they won the Cup in 2014.
Well, they also had two. They also had 2. Yeah, they haven't won. They've been in the playoffs, obviously, not only against Edmonton, but they also had a sweep by Vegas right after those Cup years. But they do have 2 second-round picks this year. They picked up one in the Deneau trade. Ironically enough, it was the Columbus Blue Jackets who originally owned that pick, and it's now made its way to Los Angeles. So if the third upgrades to a second, they'll still have another second-round pick, which gives Mark Yannetti, their director of amateur scouting, still plenty of ammunition at the draft. The only question now is, do they end up wheeling that first-round pick this year or next year in a deal to get a center?
Yeah. John, appreciate your time, man, on short notice. Thanks so much for this. We'll talk to you again soon. Enjoy the break.
Sounds good. Always enjoy the chat. Have a good one.
There you go. That's the mayor, John Hoven, joining us from L.A. as they get to Artemi Panarin. And when we come back, there is a big story involving Gavin McKenna off of the ice. We'll discuss it next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
It only comes once a year.
Aw, Valentine's Day.
What? No, from the top. It only comes once a year.
Oh, here we go. The Rock and Roll Super Party, only at On the Rocks.
Join host Ryan Jesperson on Sunday, February 8th.
At OTR for the biggest football party in Edmonton.
Your $30 ticket includes
all-you-can-eat buffet, commemorative t-shirts, prepaid Miller Lights, and entry to all prizes, including
$1,000 cash.
The Rock and Roll Super Party.
Only at On the Rocks.
Book your table today.
OnTheRocksYEG.com.
These days, it's all about who you know. And that's why it's the perfect time to save at the Bricks Friends and Family Sale. Upgrade your living room in time for the big game and score free delivery on TVs over 50 inches, like a Samsung 85-inch 4K Smart TV for just $9.99. And save up to $1,200 off sofas and sectionals. And mix and match and save up to $1,000 off 2 or more major appliances. Some exclusions apply. Check out the Brick in Edmonton South Common, West Edmonton Mall, North Side on 137th, and downtown near the Ice District.
Mr. Rooter gets a colonoscopy.
All right, Mr. Rooter, just relax. We're almost finished.
Now, what am I looking at on the screen?
That's your large intestine.
Wow, the pipes of the human body. Incredible. This is just like when we use a camera for sewer inspection, except you probably don't find tree roots.
You'd be surprised what we find.
You know, once I found a bunch of Hot Wheels.
Hey, me too.
For a plumber who values healthy pipes, call Mr. Rooter.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Get the Gregor special and enjoy 20% off any regular menu price order when you use promo code Gregor at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. 329. How are you? Jason Gregor, Connor Hanley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. We got a lot of text to get to, and we'll get to lots of those. There's lots of stories people want to get to. We are going to be joined by Ryan Pinder right now. But the Gavin McKenna, we got a lot of texts about Gavin McKenna. Yes, the Gavin McKenna has been charged with felony aggravated assault and a misdemeanor charge. Basically, it happened on the 31st of January, and it involves, a kid who was mouthing him off. Supposedly, allegedly, he might have broken his jaw. It was in a bar. So basically, got into a bar fight. Probably not smart. Are you completely sober? I have no idea. Now, some would say, why is he in a bar? He's not 21. I'm sure that'll come up. Bar fights are going to happen. When you're in the public eye, you got to be smarter. That's just a fact. And will this, how will it impact him? I don't know. I guess there'd have to be more details on it. So, what comes from it, we'll wait and see. There is, if his last name isn't McKenna and his first name isn't Gavin, is the guy going after him with these type of charges? Probably not, because everybody knows. You Google his name. Oh, look how much money he's making in nil this year. So, because there's been lots of bar fights. Lots of times no one gets charged with aggravated assault. I'm not saying it's right to be in a bar fight, but I'm also not naive enough to the fact that there are people in the world that if you get in a fight with someone who's, a public figure and you can milk some money out of it, there are people that will try to do it. There's no doubt in my mind that that'll happen. So, hey, dumb decision? Yes. Am I going to crucify his character? No. I know lots of good people that have been in a bar fight once in their life. It'll happen. So we'll see. Anyway, let's get to the oil report brought to you by Go Auto. Looking for a vehicle? Hey, look no further. GoAuto.ca. 15,000 vehicles to choose from. They got over 71 locations for you to shop and get a great deal. GoAuto.ca. The Oilers are in Calgary tonight to take on the Calgary Flames, who are the Flames this year are going for the lottery. That's where they're at. That's where they should be. To be honest, the Flames, of course, one of the few teams in NHL history who've never had the first overall pick. They're currently sitting with 50 points, tied with the Rangers. The Blues have 49, and the Vancouver Canucks have 42. Probably be a challenge to catch the Canucks, but the Flames could give themselves maybe the second or third best chance to win the draft lottery. We will see. To discuss all of that, Ryan Pinder joins us now from Flames Nation. Pinder, how are you, man?
Good. Gregor, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm good. What do you make of McKenna in a bar fight and the assault charge?
I don't know. I mean, I don't really know how this works. Like, he's underage. Is he intoxicated? Does that jeopardize his scholarship and or NIL money? Is it up to the police officers or the person that is aggravated by him to press charges? I don't know. I feel like you need a legal expert. I'm just a loudmouth hockey fan. So wrong guy.
Not so much about the legal side of it, but do you think that, there's a big picture here that people are like, oh, his draft status is going to fall? I'm not necessarily sold on that.
Brian Burke would move him up his board, would he not?
yeah, probably. Hey, a skilled guy who's willing to fight. Yeah, sign me up. Yeah,
gritty.
Exactly. So, yeah, I don't think it'll be. Hey, you know what? You don't want your star players doing that. I understand all that. People make wrong split-second decisions. I'm not going to crucify a young kid for maybe making a bad decision at a bar where most of us have probably made a bad decision at a bar at some point in our life. The Calgary Flames. Cooley's starting tonight. And man, when I look at his numbers, I'm kind of curious as to why hasn't he played more? He's got unreal numbers. And I looked, it's not like he's getting the weak sisters. 9 of his 15 starts have been against playoff teams. So this will be 10 out of 16 tonight.
He and Wolf had alternated, I think, 9 in a row, just back, forth. And that ended the last home game for the Flames, I believe, where Wolf went 2 in a row. So they're alternating, and that's a big change of pace for Devin Cooley, who couldn't get in the net in the fall. Yeah. And the reason he couldn't get in the net is because he was shelved the preseason, and they kind of thought that Prosvetov was going to be their backup because that's how bad Cooley had been. It was sort of a 2-horse race to be the backup. One of them was going to start in the A, the other guy was going to be the backup at the NHL level. And they were both so bad in the final preseason game. It was like, shit, who's on waivers? Like it was that bad. And so they start the season with a game at Edmonton that you would remember. Then they come to Vancouver the following night and then home on a Saturday, 3-4. Dustin Wolf plays all 3 of those games in 3.5 days. It was just ridiculous. And like a matinee on Saturday to close out the 3-4. And it just told you they didn't trust him. And then when they did spot him in occasionally on back-to-backs and such, it looks all right. But it took a while to build this confidence. They were so bad the first 5 weeks of the year. Like we're talking 32nd in the NHL, on pace to score less than the 14 Sabres, which is the lowest scoring team of the cap era, I believe. And so I don't think anyone was looking that good, even if the numbers were sparkling. They weren't winning or anything. But he's been very good. He kind of looks like the Brandon Bussey story, but a couple years older. I think Cooley's 29, he's 27, and both have sort of come out of nowhere as guys that look like farmhands and journeymen that have turned into really respectable NHLers this year.
Looking at the Flames, Anderson's gone. Do you see anyone that's a lock to be moved before the deadline out of Calgary?
Lock is tough because I could just see them sort of saying, one from this bin we're going to move and one from that bin we're going to move. And my thought is like, okay, they've got too many defensemen now. Do you turn around Zach Whitecloud for a nice return? He's a very reliable right shot D. He's a 4 or a 5, depending how deep you are. Everyone needs right shot D. They've already had conversations with a bunch of teams about right shot D because that's what Rasmus was. So they'll understand the market. And he's making 2.75 for another 2 years. But they also like him. And, you know, you don't want to be devoid of NHL players. You can't go Bristevich, Pahal, and Parekh on the right. You do have Uyghur. So you could take calls on Uyghur, who's having a not great year with 5 years left. You could certainly take calls on Whitecloud. I think they'll try to move Braden Pahal, who's a depth piece, their 5th right shot defenseman. That's too many. He's a good, tough depth defender, 6'7". And then you get to the forward group and you're like, yeah, like a lot of teams would like Blake Coleman. He's got 1 year left. He makes less than 5. He's a phenomenal checking winger. He's the same guy that won 2 cups in Tampa. He's older, but he's aged well. He still gets there. He still hits. He still scores a bunch. So Coleman would be attractive to many teams. And then there's Nazem Kadri, who's got 3 years left at 35 years old, making $7 a year, which is probably too much money for a guy that's going to be 38 years old when that deal ends. So how much do you have to eat? What is the market like? And they only have 1 retention slot left. I think teams shopping for a Coleman or a Kadri would say, we'll give you even more if you can knock that down a couple $1 million. So if you move one, maybe does it, lower the probability of moving the other? I think so. So I can't tell you who's the lock, but I can tell you those would be the 5 guys I'd be watching.
Yeah, well, the Kadri one, it's always going to be the fine discussion over him is this the best his value is going to be, right? Because you look and say a team trades him now, that just gives him another run, right? Because you can never just trade a guy for 1 year. Usually if you're trading someone, especially Kadri's under contract, say, hey, I'm going to get him for 3 cup runs or I get him for 4 instead of 3. Well, there's more value in the 4th one, right? So, but then at the same time, like Calgary, I'm sure that their fans are probably a little leery of what happened with Bennett and Tkachuk and and how that went down to say, hey, but that's a different regime. And to me, every situation's different. I've heard that Kadri likes it in Calgary. He has no problem with everything. From everything I've heard, he's been a good soldier. There's no issues there at all. So you don't have to race out to trade him because the pieces that you're going to get, teams who go in a rebuild, if you have no good core players around, it can get really ugly really fast. Yeah.
And that's kind of why I think if you move one, you keep the other in terms of Coleman and Kadri. But I will say this, Nazem Kadri is not anything like trading a 20-something-year-old pre or mid-prime. It's a 35-year-old. You don't want to get caught holding the bag in 2 years. If you can get assets now, there's no guarantee that you can get assets in 2 years. He looks like a 2C right now. On a really, really deep team, he's a 3C. He might not look like an NHLer when he's 38. Father Time has this record you've heard of. It's undefeated. He's like the Harlem Globetrotters. Nazem Kadri will be too old to play hockey at some point. Don't get caught holding the bag if you're the Calgary Flames and you can get assets for him. Now, what is he worth? I don't know. How much money do you have to eat? I don't know. But I heard some people talking about a Brock Nelson type return. That was a first, a top prospect plus. I don't see that at all. I really don't. If you get a second and a prospect, I think you have to think hard about it. If there's a first on the table, I think it's already done.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that for sure. You look at tonight for the Calgary Flames. They've had success this year against the Oilers. The Oilers have been up and down. The Flames, obviously, they can't score a lot, right? They just one of the lowest scoring teams. I've looked in their last 15 games. They got 30 goals. They try to win every game 3-2, basically, Ryan, and it's not overly riveting type of hockey to watch, but that's kind of the position that they're in. Do you feel do they got some young guys coming that maybe they can become a team that, well, if we lose, at least we're losing with some excitement?
It's a tough one. We talk about it all the time. Does Ryan Huska coach low event hockey, or is this a roster and a team on paper that has such little offensive talent that you have to play this way for a chance to win? And it's probably both true. I don't know how I would assign the responsibility onto either of those, but there's certainly some overlap there. They're not high event. They love playing 2-1 games. They can't win if you're trading goals. They've scored 4 goals or more once this year in 2026. If you get to 3 against them, they're in big trouble. And they've scored 1 goal, just 1, I think, in half of their games in the new year. It's 1's not a lot. So it's not high event. everyone that is looking at this team understands where they're at and where they need to go if they want to become contenders again, which is pick high in the draft. You've got a nice stable of prospects, but you are missing a future star. You find those in one place, the top of the draft. That's it. Like, you can certainly get on your hands and knees and go through the haystack to look for the needle, but the only place you continually find superstars is the top of the draft. That's where this team needs to be, and that's when we can really start to say, okay, is this a system issue or is this a talent issue? Because this highly touted Gavin McKenna type person isn't putting up points. They're not there yet. Like, Jonathan Huberdeau is on pace for less than 40 points. That's an absolute disaster. They don't have anyone potentially that could get to 20. This is one of the meagerest offenses in the NHL, and they know if they want to win, it's got to be structure, work ethic, don't quit, everyone stay positive, goalie only allowed 2.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned Huberdeau, and last year, you know what? He had 28 goals, he had 62 points, or people like, hey, it's kind of bounced back a little bit. Like, he was never going to be the 115-point guy. That he was the 1 year in Florida. I think they're hoping to maybe be, because I think he had a 90-point season there once, but he's probably more like a 60 to 70-point guy historically. This year, he's not even close to that, right? Like, he's not even a half a point a game guy. How bad is it for Huberdeau? Has he slowed down? Is it confidence? Is it lack of, desire? Is the losing catching up? What do you see lacking in his game?
Yes. Everything. I mean, and look, you're selling him a little short. The guy had 115 points and was a point per game player 4 or 5 years, I think, heading to Calgary. And he got here and he looked completely different. And it was like, well, maybe it's Daryl. And Daryl's asked him to do things he's not good at. Well, then Daryl's gone. And then, last year, like, wow, like 60 points actually feels okay. There is no team in the NHL that is paying someone $10.5 million. That's like, 60, woo! Like, that is superstar star territory money. Like it's Kyle Connor, it's like Adrian Kempe, it's Rantanen, it's Robertson. Like, this has been a disaster. It is the worst contract in the NHL. There is no chance he will ever get back to 75% of what that career year was. Bill Zito looks like a genius. Everyone thought the Flames won that deal. And this contract is bioproof because it's almost all signing bonus money and there's 5 years left. It is a boat anchor. It has certainly helped kick this team into a rebuild, and it's probably keeping them from doing other stupid things right now because it's eating up $10.5 million and really making them say, okay, we actually do need to burn this thing down a bit. I don't know how you fix it. You don't notice them. You'll watch them tonight. Maybe it's a backhand neutral zone turnover. You'll see that. He's big. He's not impressive physically. He's not creating offense. He's not elite defensively. He really doesn't accomplish much. It's tough. It's cardio. It's $10.5 million for cardio.
Yikes. That is tough one. And you're probably saying it's obviously doesn't sound like it's going to improve a lot. Lastly, though, Cooley's numbers, you mentioned how him and Wolf have been splitting time recently, and that's obviously good. Cooley didn't have a great preseason. I understand that, but his numbers, Ryan, have been very good. And I outlined it earlier that he's like, they're not just saying, okay, Wolf gets the best team, and then, we'll give Cooley like the Vancouvers or the Rangers. That's not what's happening. What have you seen in Cooley's game to make you think like, like this could be sustainable?
Well, I see the sort of things I saw in Chad Johnson for 3 months here when I was accused of pumping Johnson, Jason, which you don't want to get accused of. And then he disappeared. We see goalies that are backups get hot. We see guys get nicknames in their late 20s and become overnight sensations, and then they're gone. We saw Jim Carrey in an All-Star game. We saw the Moose. We've seen the Hamburglar. I think he's playing really well. And like any of the top 100 goalies in the world, when they're on, they look great. Alex Lyon started the playoffs with the Panthers 3 years ago. Alex Lyon is red hot for the Buffalo Sabres right now. Nobody is saying he's the number one. So, how many games is it? Is it 20? Like, he's been great, but I don't know that it means anything. He just extended at really low money. I guess he's proven he's an NHLer. I think he had like 6 appearances before this season in the NHL. It's been impressive. He's playing great. I don't want to, start foaming over a small sample size.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And obviously when you have Wolf, it's pretty clear that he's going to be their go-to guy when you look at the salary and everything else. One last one, when I'm sure, hey, having done it for a decade, I know that in January and February, when your team's at the bottom, you're doing a lot of analysis on draft picks. If the Flames were number one, would they take McKenna?
I think it'd be hard not to, but again, like I love Verhoff as a player, but they've got Brstevich and they've got Parekh on the right. They have Uyghur on the right, and if they keep Whitecloud, they've got Whitecloud on the right. And I hate when teams draft for positional need. But when you see how anemic their offense is, their inability to create any sort of goals, and you look at the wave of like support players coming, it's a great system of B+ prospects. There's tons of them, but they are missing the superstar. They've got a nice stable of right shot D's. Henry Muse is another. He broke his leg. I think he's at Penn State this year. There is so many solid players coming. They do not have a superstar. It would be hard to look past him, and I get it. Ivar Stenbark's doing things that you haven't seen since the Sedin twins or Naslunds in the top league in Sweden. I don't know where they're at, but it would be very hard for them to pass up on McKenna. And if you're looking at the standings, you opened up with it. Going to be tough to reel in Vancouver. St. Louis, they look like they know what they're doing. Rangers have sent out another press release. You know what that means. They're going to pick high. You might need some lottery ball luck. You said they've never picked first. Correct. They've never picked top 3.
I know.
Like, imagine the Oilers if you deleted all their top 3 picks. Like, are they in Houston yet? It's the only reason they're relevant.
Yeah. Oh, hey, top pick. You get the top picks, and then you got to make some good ones. And you need multiples. That's just a fact, right? Like, look at Pittsburgh, look at Washington, look at Chicago.
Colorado.
One, right? Like, you need multiples if you want to do it. And, the Flames, I know they got this year and next year for sure. And then maybe you start to build up. That's why everybody in San Jose that's going crazy, I'm like, I love Celebrini, don't get me wrong. But they still need another top pick, honestly. Like, otherwise, they'll be good. But they're never going to
get Misa. They've got Will Smith. They've got Dickinson. They've got Askarov. I don't think they need to pick high, but they're going to be fine.
Yeah. Well, I like Misa. Like Will Smith, I think is good. I'm not sure. I'm not as high on Will Smith as some people as far as being a great guy. I think it'd be good, but I'm talking like Celebrini is legit good. Really good. And I think Misa, you're right. Misa could be there. They need a big defense. Like they need Verhoff.
They need Verhoff. If they get one, that would be the guys that take Verhoff one.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. So awesome, Ryan. Thanks, man. Have a good one.
Anytime. See you, fellas.
There you go. That's Ryan Pinner from Flames Nation. Quick break. We'll come back. We got 5 questions on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
There's a lot of great seasons in Alberta. Hockey season, harvest season, the winter season, and the even more winter season. But GS Construction is already preparing for our next great season, because while the city slows down, we plan ahead. Projects, people, and pipelines. Everything starts taking shape for another strong year underground. We're also getting ready for our next hiring season in March. We want new people who want to build something that lasts. For more on us and to apply, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Hear ye, hear ye! Dragon fruit has returned to Booster Juice. Prepare thyself for the legendary alchemy of the Dragon Slayer smoothie, Pink Dragon Booster Mixer, and Dragon Booster Ball. Does the dragon taste like chicken? Nay, Booster Juice uses only delicious tropical dragon fruit. No dragons are harmed. Get thee to Booster Juice before dragon fruit vanishes once more.
Booster Juice, Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Friday night calls for a family fun that's second to none, starting with a big party.
It's the Oil Kings mascot Louie's birthday bash, presented by Bloom Benefits.
Edmonton faces the Moose Jaw Warriors. Local mascots will be in the house for Louie's big day, and every fan in attendance gets a card for their chance to win a fun Louie prize.
Plus, 4 Calmont Kids food combos for $10 or less. The value is lion-sized.
Oil Kings Warriors, Louie's birthday bash, Friday at 7.
Great seats at Rogers Place start at only $20 at oilkings.ca.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
If you're selling a vehicle, Sherwood Honda really wants to get your goat. We mean greatest offer of all time. Consign with Sherwood Honda, and they can sell your vehicle for you. All breeds, makes, and models, not just Hondas. You can let Sherwood Honda lock horns with those tough negotiators, and you'll reach the interested buyers that flock to Sherwood Honda every day. Sherwood Honda's the GOAT of selling vehicles, including yours. So someone Sherwood...
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork, made in Canada, made for Canada, where extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.353, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Hanley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. It is the Gregor Show. Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, where, of course, you can get in the game. Lotto 649 tonight. The OG of lotteries, 24 million, or the classic jackpot of 5 million. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. And while you're there, you can check out the Jason Gregor Show specials for tonight. We mixed in a save special for Cooley and Jari. Check that one out, as well as some over-unders, and the Oilers going to win on the road. They've actually been pretty good on the road lately, so we'll see. Maybe getting away from home is what they need, because home cooking hasn't been good for the Oilers. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick, where their family and friend sale goes on for another few days, where you can get a queen-size fabric bed, 2 styles, only $299 for a queen bed. Pretty sweet. And you can also save $600 on a Canadian-made genuine leather sofa for only $999 right now at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, question number 1, game day. So, as usual, what's going to happen down? Final game for the Oilers ahead of the Olympic break in Calgary.
Well, I don't think there'll be a lot of goals tonight. The Flames don't score a lot, but they don't give up a ton either. So I think this might be a little bit of a low event game, Connor Halley. And maybe it's just because of, the last few ones that I've seen. But my God, the Oilers can't lose to Calgary, can they? For a third time this year. So is it? Yeah, because aren't they 1-1-1 against the Flames? So yeah, I guess I'll go with that they win, but I don't think it's going to be pretty.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to say, though, a little jazzed up maybe for the Olympics. McDavid and Draisaitl will have a good game before they head across to Italy. So, I don't know. I'll take a 4-1 win for the Oilers, and maybe they'll lock it down defensively against a team, like you said, that struggles to score.
Yeah, you don't have to be great defensively. My God, if you give up a lot of goals tonight to the Calgary Flames, then to me, you got some problems. Yes, the Oilers are 1-1-1. Against the Calgary Flames, of course, lost the season opener against the Flames, which still they were up 3-0 in that game, and blew it, which wasn't obviously. They were up like 3-0 like halfway through the game, and still blew it. So that wasn't ideal. Then they won 5-1, and then they lost in Calgary 3-2 just after Christmas. So we'll see what they do tonight.
Question number 2, with the addition of Panarin, how much more of a threat do you think that the LA Kings are this year?
Good question. Panarin definitely helps them. But, like Kopitar now, can he get healthy and play well in the playoffs? Can Moore get healthy and play well? From it's hard to know about the Kings because they've been banged up. And then what about Kemper when he comes back? So there's a lot of questions about injuries for the LA Kings. But Panarin, he fills the biggest void they had. They haven't had an offensive difference maker in a while. So, yeah, I think it makes them more competitive for sure. And if they could meet up against anybody but Edmonton in the first round, I think they could have success.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, obviously he's a really good player, top line winger. I think it gives them more of a threat, but what style are they going to play when they get into the playoffs? And if they fall behind, can they dig themselves out of it? I'm curious to see, but I like the move, and I like what Ken Holland did, getting them to retain some salary and for the cost. Good deal. Question number 3 for you. PlayAlberta.ca has a ton of prop bets for the big game on Sunday. Of the ones listed, what one might you have some fun with?
Go ahead.
Oh, I mean, I'm a big Gatorade guy. I know you said you're a little unsure of that one. I love to throw a little bit on the long shot just in case. I like these funny ones. Which commercial will air first? Pepsi versus GoDaddy. They've got Bosch versus GoDaddy. There's a bunch of different ones there. So for me, I go Gatorade, and then I always go with the anthem length as well. Opening coin toss is just, well, who knows? Maybe me and the boys will do a little parlay with that one.
There's one, like if you love field goals, there's some crazy bets on there. There's lots if you want to go for some wild odds, but that don't happen. I like there's some interesting ones. To me, what I found interesting is the Seahawks to score in each quarter is only plus 245. Like they obviously think that they're going to score a lot of points in each quarter. So I will the one that I kind of that is the 2-point convert. Seattle to get one. So that's what I'd go with.
I had a buddy who always liked to do the safety in the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
And then what was the Seahawks Broncos first play of the game?
Yeah.
The safety, finally. I also like the Rashid Shaheed over 19.5 miles per hour on his top speed. This guy gets going up to 21. I'll be all over that because I'm pumping his tires in this game. Question number 4, NBA trades ridiculous yesterday. Of the more major North American sports, do you think there's a league that does trade deadline and the trades better than the association?
Ooh. Man, it's hard to find one that's better. Just because the NBA does trade a lot of their big name players way more. Like the NFL hardly has any trades, so they're out. Major League Baseball has some. I think if they didn't have that stupid second one, I think it'd be better for them. But yeah, it's hard to argue the NBA just because there's just significantly way more player movement. Now, a lot of times you're just moving guys to make salaries work, right? So it looks like there's more than there actually is sometimes, right? In actual, there's 8-9 player trades, but 5 of the guys are playing 1 minute a night.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the part that I always find interesting. I'm like, why are they moving those guys? They're not even going to play. So.
Yeah, I mean, last year I think we're just past the 1-year anniversary of Luka going to the Lakers. Crazy trades there, and then heading into the deadline, like you said, it takes us an hour to read these updates because there's so many names being moved around. But I would say no. I think the NBA in that aspect does it pretty good, and that might just be kind of the circumstances around the league more than anything. Final question for you, NHL players, and of course all the Olympic athletes heading to Italy for some longer flight than others. If you're taking the flight from Italy or Edmonton to Italy, what kind of things are you doing to, I guess, make the flight feel not as long?
Oh, buddy, I'm a sleeper. I can sleep on the plane for sure. So that's number one. And I bring a few good books, man. I love reading on the plane. I have no problem with reading on the plane. I don't I might watch one movie at the most, but I don't know why. I find that reading a book passes the time for me better. And I know that obviously it probably doesn't. It's the same, 2 hours is 2 hours. But I just find that when I get into a good book, it works better. So a good book for sure. And some, I find like your snacks, Connor Halley, that can be the key to the trip.
Gotta have good snacks.
Good snacks.
Yeah, I'm with you. That throw in the nap if you can. Trying to think the last time I think I had a good sleep on a plane was probably the way back from Vegas once, and that was just due to a long weekend. But probably a movie for me. Movie, or I'll download a TV show and binge a season. If I can do that on a longer flight, that's definitely something I'm looking to do.
Awesome. When we return, Rich Winter is going to join us in the next hour. Also, today on the show, Janice Taylor will be by, and she's really an expert in the emotional fitness. She's doing like emotional fitness for players. She has a whole pilot about it. It's fascinating stuff. Fascinating, because I do believe that, like, how do you work on your emotional fitness? We'll find out coming up after a Connor Halley Sports 1440 update brought to you by Loca. Looking for food? Good food? You can go pick it up. 2 locations in Sherwood Park or in West Edmonton on 142nd Street, or even easier, they'll deliver it right to your door. Chef-prepared meals, healthy, tasty. Check it out, meals.loca.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Game day at the Oilers down in Calgary, set to take on the Flames. Puck drop just after 8. We've got pregame coverage with Andrew Walker coming your way. 6 o'clock here on Sports 1440. Elsewhere, Bruins take on the Panthers. Jackets host the Hawks. The Canadians in Winnipeg. Avs taking on the Sharks. You got the Mammoth and the Red Wings. Blues, Stars, Canucks in Vegas. And the Kings host the Kraken. Off the ice. Big one for the Kings. They acquire Artemi Panarin from the New York Rangers for prospect Liam Greentree and a conditional 3rd-round pick. Panarin then signing a 2-year, $11 million AAV contract extension with the team. Meanwhile, St. Louis Blues trading forward Nick Bjugstad to the New Jersey Devils for forward Thomas Bordeleau and a conditional 2026 4th-round pick. In the WHL, the Oil Kings are in Medicine Hat. ECHL, Saints hosting Vernon at 7. And in the AJ, you got Devon hosting Grand Prairie, while Bonnieville in Fort Mac. In the association, ton of trades today, including the Dallas Mavericks, trading 10-time NBA All-Star Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum to the Washington Wizards for Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley, the 3rd and 2 first-round picks, along with 3 second-rounders. Coming up in hour 3, it is another edition of the Business of Sport. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, the Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky
All of a sudden,
game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com.
Connor Halley
Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
It's like a locker room, minus the smell.
Ew.
Kevin Carius brings the banter, the buzz, and the bold sports talk. Weekday mornings from 7 to 11 on Sports 1440, Edmonton's home for sports.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. From weekend warriors to professional athletes, kids playing soccer to grandparents in the garden, rotator cuff tears and tendonitis to post-surgical knees and hips. We fix your body. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Just after 4 o'clock. Welcome back. It is game day. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, Twitch. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. However you're consuming the show, we very much appreciate it. Of course, Oilers in Calgary tonight for their 58th game of the season, and then they will have a 3-week break. The Oilers will return to action after the Olympics on Wednesday, the 25th of this month, in Anaheim to take on the Ducks. And then the next night, they'll take on Artemi Panarin and the LA Kings. Of course, he was acquired by the Rangers by the Kings earlier today, then signed a 2-year extension at $11 million. 833-401-1440, because something tells me for our next guest, there's going to be a few questions. So 833-401-1440 is where you can send in your texts for your questions as we get to the business of sports here on Sports 1440. Rich Winter, of course, a longtime player agent, joins us. Rich, my man, how you doing?
I'm doing quite well. 82 degrees here. Enjoying myself. It's great.
All right. Well, you turn your camera on as we get to.
Well, that would be very helpful. How do
yeah, that would be helpful. It's the best you've ever looked, Rich. It's the best you've ever looked right now.
But it doesn't say I can do that.
Oh,
there it is. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, there you go. You'll figure it out. Also, though, today on the business of sports, and we've teased this a little bit, many of you listening have heard about mental toughness, and that's definitely a thing. We're not going to try to sit here and say that mental toughness isn't a thing. However, like anything in the world, we're always looking for new opportunities and learning new things, and mental fitness is something emotional fitness. Our next guest, Janice Taylor, she had a fantastic project on this, and I know with Wilson 4Q, they've teamed up with some professional athletes, because a lot of athletes now, like, they know how to maximize their physical, whether it's strength, endurance, cardio, quick, all that stuff. You can get bigger, stronger, faster. But what about being more emotionally regulated? And that's what we're going to get into today. Janice, welcome to the show. Very much happy that you gave us some time today. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm so good. Thank you for having me. It's quite exciting. Rich is still figuring out how to get his camera on.
Well, no, I did, but it says I'm in the show. Everyone can see and hear me. So oh, there it is. Hold on. I think that technology is now
catching up.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, we can hear Rich, so that's all good. This is the best he's ever looked, though, Janice. The best he's ever looked. I do. So for our audience, give me a little bit of your background for our audience before we kind of get into the nuts and bolts.
Okay, well, I'm excited to be here because I am from the prairies. I'm from Saskatchewan. I'm a prairie girl born and raised, and I had exposure very young, long story short, wanted to find a different solution than everything being about therapy, mental health. Something's wrong with you. This is your fate. I thought I just kind of disagreed. And so I went on a journey to kind of figure that out through psychology, and had started to write a theory on emotional fitness, which I think has taken me now 30 years. And through that whole journey, it's led me to Harvard University, from a kid from the poor neighborhood in Regina with just a single mom to there. So it's kind of been a journey to put this all together and test and learn. But we're so excited now, and guys like Rich, who have come forward to really get behind it early, have been huge for us. So yeah, we're the very first company in the world to not only be giving language and understanding and science to emotional fitness, we've also made a small language AI technology for it on the good side. And we're really the first group to kind of pioneer this with athletes as well. So it's been huge.
Okay, awesome. So obviously you have a Harvard degree, you studied it, and I love this topic because, like emotional fitness. I guess, first of all, how would you define emotional fitness?
Amazing question. So emotional fitness is 4-quadrant health: physical, mental, and emotional. But everything starts in the emotion before it goes to your head. So you need to think about emotional fitness as the basement to yourself. It's like the foundation. Everything starts there and then it travels up to your head. So it's its own system, no different than your heart and your lungs. They're in the same body, but the brain and the heart operate differently, but they communicate. So you need to think about emotional fitness and the emotional system as its own container, but it's the first thing that happens in a human body when you make any decision about anything. It starts in your emotional system and then it travels to the other quadrants of the self. So you can think of it like your inner sonar system or your radar or your wiring. It gets the signal before the rest of you does.
Okay. So, and that's where, and I think in a lot of cases, especially in sports, right? Like you got to make quick decisions. There's lots of pressure. There's lots of stress. Sometimes you're going to make the wrong decision. But a lot of times, I think for athletes and at a younger age and at any level, you get a little, your emotions take over, right? Yeah. And most of us are just like, well, just calm down. You just calm down. But if it was that easy, we'd all calm down.
Right.
So take me through that, Janice, and what you've learned in how just calm down really doesn't help that much.
I'm so glad you said that. Thank you. It's like you read my theory, because you need to think about the emotional system, same mechanics as, say, your knee. If you had an Achilles injury, you wouldn't say, go run a marathon. You'd be like, no, you got an injury, heal it, fix it, rehab it, then you run the marathon. So you kind of need to think about the emotional system, how it has its own wiring. And that wiring is injured before your 10th birthday and stays injured in most people 40 to 60 years. So it's not optimized. So what you're asking people to do work harder, be tougher, don't drink, don't smoke, don't have too much sex, whatever it may be. You're saying, why are you doing all these things that are sabotaging you? But actually your emotional system has a bum leg. And so if you think about it from a bum knee, you wouldn't put the same expectations. But what we discovered was we could narrow the emotional injury that is the same in everyone. Doesn't matter the human. And we figured out we could heal it. And we did that over 2,000 people to actually narrow it down. And so the emotional system can actually be optimized, which means it's not about toughness or just working harder or willpowering your way through life. It actually can optimize for beyond ceiling performance. So your performance is here. You probably have all your things that you do to ensure your performance can be here, except no one until Rich. Rich is the first, and his crew is the first that is really pioneering this to say we can optimize, not only heal the injury, now we can optimize the emotional system in real time every day. It's not something that's just out there that you don't understand.
Rich, the good news is that you figured out your system over there. So
well, apparently it was your system, because I just turned it on and turned it off, and it worked. So it was like the Microsoft, the Microsoft employees that got out of the car, flat tire, they ran around the car twice, slammed the doors, and couldn't figure out why the tire wasn't fixed. But yeah, it worked. So no, and I find it's been interesting over the years. There's a couple of things that we're seeing at the NHL level now. One, we talked about it with stick calibration in earlier shows. It's all about reducing the delay, because on average, a high danger scoring chance in the NHL lasts about 3/4 of a second. So whether it's stick calibration, a little bit more control of your emotions so you can react more effectively and more quickly, it's really important. And I have this argument with guys all the time, because I remember Paul Coffey once said to somebody, what the average NHL player wants is to be left alone. They're happy. That's why they're average. They're happy to be there. Connor McDavid, you told him you could go to the moon and someone would work on your mental fitness and improve your game by 4.3%. He's calling Elon Musk. And so I've said to players all the time, the physical fitness issue is almost irrelevant once they reach the NHL level. They cannot go into the gym and improve 30%. And because everybody, compared to their competitor for the job that they're working to maintain or to earn, because everybody's working out. Now, some are a little lazy, but so you can leapfrog them a little bit. They're probably not competition. but you can improve your mental fitness by untold amounts and change your game. I've seen Dominik Hasek in tears, begging me to go home. He had so lost his confidence. He was an emotional basket case, a mental disaster. And I said, and I didn't know what I was doing back then. I didn't know Janice, didn't know what they were doing. I just said, I came up with an idea. Dom, I'm not getting you out of your deal to go home. You're the best goalie I've ever seen in my life. So I made a deal with him that I would get him traded, and if the trade didn't materialize into a satisfying situation for him, then I'd help him break his contract and get his deal, broken. He could go home. That gave him the peace of mind to know there was an end. But if Dominik Hasek can go to the American Hockey League, can't stop a beach ball, he's lost his mental focus to that extent. If that can happen to Dominik Hasek, just go look at the stats. Indianapolis 1 year, 2 years later, the Vezina Trophy. What happened? Circumstances around him got him settled. He got in the game, and Janice knows this better than I do. The mental fitness and the physical fitness to a degree tie together, because when you lose your confidence, you lose your posture. When you lose your posture, you let holes above you. And Dom's just like the best example. Or Marty Straka gets bought out. Look at the stats. Bought out in Florida. And then
what you're saying about that too, Rich, is like it's such an important thing to understand. If you think about this kind of from an 80-20 rule, we used to think it's like 80% mental and 20% physical, right? Anything you did was this 80-20 rule, which is really what you're describing. We would actually say something even different than that. We would say it's 80% emotional and 20% physical and mental. Because people can mentally think their way through things. And we're not talking about thinking better. We're talking about the emotional system. And 80% of every decision that an athlete makes, a human makes, a person makes at any age, it begins in the emotional system first. So this is completely shattering how we think of the world, because we're literally breaking this down and saying it starts in the emotional system that's kind of junky and full of, for lack of a better term, stuff. And then it travels to all the other parts of the quadrants of the self. And so it's actually 80% emotional. So if you see athletes hitting peaks, you don't see that, like we were even able to test that we could extend careers 1, 2, in some cases 3 years by actually just working on emotional systems. And so that's a huge change for an athlete who thinks their career is quote unquote over and they're coming to the tail end. You can extend a career as well. So the data on it is really quite fascinating. And we're just talking emotional system now, not mental toughness, because they'll burn that out.
Janice, I'm convinced that Chris Chelios played to 48 because of his mind, not his body. Because I remember going to visit him in LA, where he has a summer home, and he couldn't have breakfast because he was training with TR. Then he couldn't have lunch because he was going paddle surfing on the water, which in the ocean's tough. And then he couldn't have an early dinner because he was going to the Toyota Center to skate with his kids. He was acting like a 12-year-old, and so he just never really got old between his ears, And
would someone say Patrick Waugh was the same, because he played pretty late too, right, in his career? Like, wasn't he in his?
Maybe the most recent example is Patrick Kane, right? He's still playing.
Still playing. Jonathan Graves, he's back. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. He was the first one we ever cartooned. But, I think also what's really interesting is I think Tom Brady is a really good example of emotional fitness, because he's emotionally very, very connected and talks about that a lot.
Janice Taylor joins us. So, Janice, when you mention the emotional system, so when you're looking to repair it or clean it out, per se, how do you start doing that?
So we first wrote a theory, and then we had to write a process. And you can kind of think of a process very much like a fitness plan. Hey, I want to run a marathon. Okay, you're going to start with 1 kilometer, then 2 kilometers, then long runs. And you can kind of think about it in the same way that you're building a program. So we built a program for someone to systematically follow that's very predictive. We made it fun and interesting. It includes immersive. So there's no couch sitting in what we do. Okay. In fact, we draw the line at therapy being for mental health and emotional fitness is for everyone. So that's how we differentiate from emotional fitness to mental health. Mental health is different, and it needs a very specific therapist for mental health. We're emotional fitness, so we look at it no different if you hired a trainer and said, hey, I want to run a marathon. He's like, here's my program. So people follow that program. And then we started to build an architect, Wilson. And Wilson, yes, from the movie Castaway, because I said if everybody had a Wilson and a volleyball, we could survive a deserted island. So I said, well, let's make a small language model technology that can actually further break down some of that emotional conditioning and behavior conditioning that exists in digital. So for lack of a better term, we got to pull people out of the vortex so that they can actually rehab better in some ways, like you would getting training, and then you can actually go and live. So we needed to make an AI technology. And what Wilson does is it looks across all four quadrants of health in real time and real data sets, and it's titrating you daily. So that 5 extra minutes on Instagram that a lot of these players are doing, or those 10 extra minutes gaming, we can actually show in real time how that would show up in your emotional system and hinder your performance.
So, and I think that would be fascinating for the average person, right? Like athletes is one thing, but for the average person, especially for kids and people who, doom scrolling, all those sorts of things, they're watching shorts. Like I've seen all the studies and how kids are struggling to maintain their attention because they got to watch 30-second short, then another 30-second short, right? They can't sit and watch a movie anymore because it's like, oh my God, it's too long. I'm not stimulated.
Yes. I'm so happy you're saying that, Jason, because then guess what? They go to the family doctor and he says, you got ADHD, and he puts you on Ritalin.
Yes. It's terrible.
And it's terrible. And really what it is I realize, and this may sound too crazy, but I said, if this digital is heroin, I need to make digital methadone, is what I said. So I'm like, how do I make digital methadone? Because if this is as powerful as it is, telling kids to just get off the phone, telling adults, like if you go to a sports game and you look at the stands, who's on their phone? Like they're not even watching. Did you know like Netflix has to change how people are even paying attention? So it is a global problem. So I made Wilson to pull people out of the vortex, give them a little bit of the shot, but like the digital methadone, but slowly over time, you actually go back to what you really are built as. And you don't need drugs. You're not sick and you don't have a mental illness. Now, sometimes you do, but not in every case. And so what we're doing to kids and to people, I had this group of students that we looked at, young 18 to 24-year-old young men on a team. Almost all had a diagnosis of ADHD. Almost all were told that they had depression or anxiety. Almost all were smoking pot, watching porn. And so I said, okay, so we've given these kids this diagnosis. We've set them out into the world. They believe they now have ADHD or depression or anxiety. It's usually ADHD and anxiety. They're trying to find a way to feel good. So they're trying to calm down these young men. And when we put them through the emotional fitness program, they were my best group. My 18 to 24-year-old young men were my best ass group. And they soaked it up. And that's how I knew I had to get to Wilson faster, because I knew I needed more. They were like, yeah, because I built it with a gaming engine, so it spoke to their sensibilities, as well as also wasn't them sitting on the couch talking about their feelings. That's not what they need to do. They need to know that they're okay, that there's nothing wrong with them. But we've been telling these young men sorry, I could go on and on about this. We've been telling these young men and women, an entire generation, that they have something wrong with them. They have a mental illness. They need to be medicated. They need a diagnosis. They need a label to live in. And it's fucking them up. For lack of a better term, it's just, sorry, can I swear? Can I say that?
Preferably not. No.
Okay. So it's messing them up. And so now these kids, like by the time you've started to take all these drugs, it's like trying to get back to that true person and that true self. It's really difficult. And then they're spending 6.5 hours a day inside of digital. So that's a big wiring. So the thing about it is, I want to preface in saying there are cases of true ADHD where the chemicals in their brain are wired in such a way that they do need a medication.
Yes.
That is few and far between those kids that have been up all night, aren't eating well, aren't getting sleep, 6.5 hours on digital. expected to sit in a chair, pay attention to a teacher when they haven't slept. They're totally wired away from themselves. That's a different condition. And I think why we started with athletes, to come back to athletes, is we think they're great role models to have the conversation around emotional fitness. And that's why we call it emotional fitness. This isn't emotional mental health. This is fitness.
Yes.
And you can fix it, and you can train it, and you can optimize it. And so Rich put this in front of some young, athletes, and it's been so great because the end of the day, I think it really leads to a different conversation. Like, we're always having a mental health conversation, and we need to not have a mental health conversation. That's happening, but there needs to be an emotional fitness category and conversation.
We're going to take a quick break because I want to continue on with you.
Sorry,
no. All good. It's all good, Janice. It's all good. We're got to go to break, and you can do 10 push-ups during the commercial break. It's fine. And then we'll be we'll return
10 burpees. We want to see them on screen. We don't want to just believe they happen.
Exactly.
That's my punishment. My punishment is burpees for my F-bomb.
Yeah, exactly. And then we'll find out some emotional fitness for you to go.
We got it. That's good.
When we return here on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Sometimes you think about what you're going to do in the day. Go to work, pick up the kids from school, make supper. But at GS Construction, we think a little differently. Winter is our season to think, to plan, and to improve. We study, we innovate, we train. So when the thaw comes, we're ready to dig, build, and deliver even better, which means we need people like you. If you're thinking about joining the team at GS Construction, now's the time to do it. To apply and to see how we think, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Hear ye, hear ye. Dragon fruit has returned to Booster Juice. Prepare thyself for the legendary alchemy of the Dragon Slayer smoothie, Pink Dragon Booster Mixer, and Dragon Booster Ball. Dragon tastes like chicken? Hey, Booster Juice uses only delicious tropical dragon fruit. No dragons are harmed. Get thee to Booster Juice before dragon fruit vanishes once more.
Booster Juice, Canadian born, blending since 1999.
It only comes once a year.
Aw, Valentine's Day.
No, from the top. It only comes once a year.
Oh, here we go. The Rock and Bowl Super Party, only at On the Rocks.
Join host Ryan Jesperson on Sunday, February 8th.
At OTR for the biggest football party in Edmonton.
Your $30 ticket includes
all-you-can-eat buffet, commemorative t-shirts, prepaid Miller Lights, and entry to all prizes, including
$1,000 cash.
The Rock and Bowl Super Party.
Only at On the Rocks.
Book your table today.
OnTheRocksYEG.com.
These days, it's all about who you know. And that's why it's the perfect time to save at the Bricks Friends and Family Sale. Upgrade your living room in time for the big game and score free delivery on TVs over 50 inches, like a Samsung 85-inch 4K smart TV for just $999. And save up to $1,200 off sofas and sectionals. And mix and match. Save up to $1,000 off 2 or more major appliances. Some exclusions apply. Check out the Brick in Edmonton South Common, West Edmonton Mall, North Side on 137th, and downtown near the Ice District.
Job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Are you looking for an affordable business, group, or team outing this season? Why not catch the excitement of a game with the 5-time Junior Hockey League champions, the Spruce Grove Saints? With extremely affordable group and suite packages available and some of the lowest food and drink prices around, Saints games are the perfect night for your next group event. Get your group in on the action. For more information, visit sgsaints.ca.
Jason Gregor isn't just a sports guy. He's a community builder.
With over $3 million raised for local charities.
And his Gregor Foundation, he's making a difference on and off the air. Check out Gregor weekday afternoons on Sports 1440.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. The Oilers are back in action, and OTR is ready to be your hockey headquarters. $5.75 Molson Canadian, 69-cent wings, and play, score, and win every game. See more at OnTheRocksYEG.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We roll through. Busy Wednesday, fascinating conversation today with the founder of Wilson 4Q, as we are joined by, of course, Rich Winter, and we have Janice Taylor with us here. If you're just joining us, it's a fantastic conversation, and I love, Janice, how you differentiated, emotional fitness to mental health. It's very different, two very different things. And, if we want to call it mental fitness, we can. Emotional fitness, either one. But it's definitely different than mental health. And I think that's very important. And I kind of want to dig in a little bit because we've got a lot of questions. Like, for your study with people, like, I look and I do believe this is something that, because let's be honest, athletes are a small percentage of society, right? We've got kids every day, and tech and phones are really doing long-term damage. Just on your phones too often, it's not good for our brain, right? Everything's quick. You need like a dopamine fix all the time. Yeah. So when you, let's say, I don't know, could you work like teenagers, right? Does it work like with teenagers? How would you start the process of repairing and helping out, their emotional fitness?
Yeah, it's such a good question. So the youngest student we ever had, or the youngest person we had in the 2,000 people was a girl who was 12. So that's been our youngest test subject out of the 2,000 people that went through it. It's the same process no matter who it is. There's slight variations with regards to it. And this is why I really had to build Wilson, because I knew that I could supercharge the results. What we were doing in old school analog, people going through the program and the process. Again, just like you'd see a fitness trainer, you're going to do legs one day, you're going to do arms another day. You need to think of it kind of the same immersive experiences that way. Is that we knew we needed the technology in order to pull people out, because people would do extremely well, but they get sucked back into the vortex. And that's what you're seeing, God bless all of the therapists out there, but like the hour every 2 weeks that they may see someone, the rest of those days, 6.5 hours a day is the average. Someone's inside of a behavior conditioning machine. It's kind of hard to penetrate that, even if the knowledge is good and even if they're getting good information, right? It's hard to penetrate that. And that's really, I've been in the tech industry. It's my 16th year. And the very first startup I did was across all the major sports leagues. I was across all 5. And we were looking at children in that environment, and we looked at language technology. And early on in my career, like 2013, 14, I started to ring the alarm bells. I was living in Silicon Valley, and I said, like, if this gets in the hands of kids, we're not going to be able to stop this freight train. Now, this was 12 years ago. And I was ringing the bell then, saying, like, this is going to change social emotional learning of children. You're going to have dysfunctional adults. You're going to have kids that aren't going to be able to launch into adulthood. You're going to have rampant sexual dysfunction, high suicide rates, cutting, image issues. I rang the bell in Washington, D.C., and in Ottawa with both governments, by the way. And I was like, and, people just were kind of like, no, it's going to be fine. It's just Facebook. It's just playfulness. And I was like, no. And so here we are now with the results of all of that. And now we're really able to see that the penetration is beyond even dopamine. If you think about the emotional system and what it needs to function, just no different. Again, if someone's put their hands around your neck, your breath changes, right? You can kind of think about your emotional system's been in a vice grip. And over time, it's been pushing on that emotional system with its inability to take a full breath. And so what we were able to look at is to say, how does technology make this injury worse? And we studied it the last decade, and it makes it profoundly worse.
Yeah.
Profoundly. If we didn't have devices, people would have a lot of that same internal muscle. We call it the muscle that you need in your emotional system, but that muscle's been atrophied.
Yes.
Because now if you think about that muscle, and Rich mentioned, the ability to delay gratification, that's one of the injuries. Everything now is at our fingertips. We're at least of a generation that remember what it was like to be bored in a doctor's office or sitting at a plane. So we actually were doing a squat, for a lack of a better term. We had muscle where we learned in that muscle, in that boredom, to actually delay satisfying it. Now you have what we call digitally native kids. They don't know even after their first breath. Women who are breastfeeding are holding a phone. So you're already conditioning the baby to look at a device before it's actually a day or two old. Behavior conditioning starts then. They're on the device because they don't want to be bored while they're breastfeeding. So you'll see women doing this all the time now, which is a very different pathway. So you condition a baby. So what ends up happening is these babies end up being teenagers who have been raised entirely in an environment of digital.
Yeah. And so to start, because we've had a lot of texts, people wondering, like, how can the average person, how can we gain access to a lot of your studies, and how could we start repairing so they
can go to wilson4q.com. I started to train people, so I launched a school. We're looking for a lot of male coaches, by the way, as well, in our men's health division. Okay. So we believe emotional fitness in X. So we have emotional fitness for perimenopause, emotional fitness for teens. And so we have a school, and I've trained people on that. And they can actually start to already get the materials. There's a self-directed portal where they can get all the knowledge. They can do the process by themselves. We recommend a coach, but just for 6 months. That's it. That's all. Just like a fitness trainer. If you're just starting out, you get a fitness trainer. They teach you how to work out, and then you're on your own. Okay. So you can come there. They can check that out. And then once Wilson launches live, which we're launching it on in alignment with some of the athletes, then they're going to be able to do this on their own. And this is kind of a very profound shift. Is I believe that emotional fitness is for everyone, and they can do it. Little bit of a trainer, no different. That you don't need a gym. You don't need a trainer to go to the gym all the time. And you don't need someone to train you after you know the theory to do this for yourself. It's extremely empowering and very, very centered within themselves. So there's 12 steps. Takes 6 months to heal the injury. That's it.
6 months.
That's it.
And how many hours a day? How much work is it per day? Like, because someone's like, hey, I got 3 kids, I'm at home. How much time do a day do I gotta?
It becomes an interwoven part of everything that you do during the day and is not extra. The only thing in the initial part of the training is you first learn the awareness. You start to change some habits, just because instead of being on your phone, maybe you do actually read a book again. And I mentioned you about reading when you're on the plane. So we just start to change, but it's mostly what is really mostly missing in the world is an understanding of your emotional system separate to your mental system. And I jokingly say this because I'm like, you could stop at a gas station and ask the gas attendant and say, tell me what physical fitness is. And he'd be like, garbage in, garbage out, and you need to move. Like, he'd be able to tell you what physical fitness is from science. He doesn't need an advanced degree to do that. He'll know what that means. Our goal is for people to think of their emotional system in the exact same way that they do their physical system. So you need oxygen to breathe. You don't need to be a cardiologist to figure that out. And so if you kind of think about the emotional system, that's where we're starting. We have almost zero knowledge in our society of how our emotional system actually works. So that's the key part of it.
Rich?
Yeah, quick question, and I might lose you guys, but to everybody's benefit here shortly, because I didn't realize my battery was as low as it is physically and in my on my laptop. But I'd like maybe Janice to address in the next segment. Like, Kobe Bryant had a traumatic experience with the rape trial that he went through, and if you saw him coming out of those trial days, he was so angry at himself, and that's when he first started using music to set his emotional state before games. And I talk about this all the time. He listened to the theme song from Friday the 13th. And be interesting to hear from Janice about, and you, like, I may not be here, but to hear about how music plays a role in all this. Because we all know when our favorite song comes on the radio, we're by ourselves and we're singing like idiots in the shower, but we don't know why that happened. And I think music plays a big role here, doesn't it?
Yes, well, all creativity does. So if you think about the way the brain is built, the prefrontal cortex is the front of your brain. It's how you make decisions. It's what you visually see. You can also imagine it like a brick wall that you ram your head through regularly. It's sort of like, you kind of like ram. So when you think about your emotional system, on the temporal side of your lobe, parked beside your emotional system inside of your brain is your creative center. So you'll hear sometimes like a lot of artists are left-handed. It's because they use the right side of their brain, which is actually where, the opposite is. A lot of people are right-handed, so you use the left side of your brain, which is where all your functioning, your brain is, where you're making judgments and decisions. So to bypass this machine in front of you, your prefrontal cortex that literally is ramming your head through the brick wall expecting a different result, music and art, film, creativity ignites the other centers of your brain, which actually calm and release hormones throughout your body that calm your nervous system so that you can be present in your body. But most people, if you think about, I'm from the prairies. If you said, hey, I'm going to be an artist and a painter, they'd be like, get a job, get your ass to school. That's
the second fine.
Yeah, we were all told that being creative wasn't what we did, but every human being is born with a creative center. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to be a Picasso and you're going to paint. It means that you have to actively make a choice to engage it.
But Janice, I would disagree. Sorry to interrupt, but I would disagree with you because I took in one aspect. Mostly, I agree with you. But one aspect, I took a right brain drawing course from a woman at UCLA, and I was on the plane, and they said, if you can't teach you to draw like an accomplished artist in 3 days, you don't have to pay. I'm like, I'm going to be that guy because I couldn't even draw a stick man. And what they taught us to do is instead of drawing, because the left side of the brain draws what you think a chair looks like.
Yes.
The right side of the brain, if you train it looks at what you see.
That's the operative word. Yes.
So the way they tricked us is they had us say in a chair, you draw the negative space. Don't draw the chair, draw the negative space, like the space between the bars on the back of the chair.
I love it.
Then what you learn is like, oh my gosh, the chair's there. And then the third day, I remember saying, like, they paired us up at the end, and I can't even draw a stick man. But if next time you guys see me and I got my phone with me, you got to see what I drew on the third day, because it's all about retraining the brain. I never thought about that, but that was like,
that's exactly what she did. Is essentially when you activate the creative portions of your brain, it starts to activate your emotional system.
Does it have to tie in with like my high shits at my highs, like flow experience kind of as well?
It's not necessarily just that, but it has to be the part. So when you asked about Kobe Bryant and music, all he was doing was activating that side of his brain so that it could further calm him in a way. Now, when you have an emotional injury, the problem is that your prefrontal cortex, your brain, how you think, blocks, your defense mechanisms block access to your temporal lobe. So music is one way that is an easy, friendly way to activate this other part of who you are. But when you are trying to think you need to be mentally tough or think your way through a situation, you might as well take that prefrontal cortex and bang your head against the brick wall behind me, because all you're doing is activating the same system that is preventing you from getting to the actual emotional system. And that's was formed in children under the age of 10, your defense mechanisms, the wiring in your brain, how it protected you, your fight or flight. So when we come back to athletes and they feel danger, they think it's danger, it's just a feeling. So they're on the ice, they're doing what they're doing. They start to look for pattern recognitions of things before. oh, I know how this plays out. This guy's going to do this. I'm going to do this. This is how this is. Now, when you're first training athletes, you want a lot of that repetitive memory, right? You want them to not have to think when they shoot the puck. It just should be automatic, right? We teach them to do things. It's like a tennis player, rote memory over and over again. What we don't realize is that because of that, we put them further in the box in their brain. So when they have a feeling, they're not able to distinguish whether this is good for them. So they can't embrace the feeling. All they know is danger, danger, danger. This doesn't fit in my box. And so why this is so imperative for every human being, but mostly, again, just because we're talking about sports today, is that they're only operating half speed. And I don't care if it's Connor McDavid or anybody else, and he's amazing. That emotional pieces of the puzzle will become an Achilles heel. They do show up.
Like, how much is his passion for winning a cup and his inability to get one so far hurting him? And I think the other thing that comes into play, tell me if I'm wrong, is men are told, you're a pussy, what, you cry at movies, you get emotional. And so we hardwire in young men that being in touch with your emotions is not it's not appropriate.
We've defined that emotions involve crying. And we're not talking about actually defining the emotion. We're just talking about a feeling that could be good or bad. It's just a feeling. So if you take a Connor McDavid as an example, and I don't know the man from Adam, so it's not for me to say, but if you take this as an example, the way that he's wired his brain, he's wired it for that, right? For perfection, for winning a cup. That's what he's done to his brain. But you have to think about it. It will work for 90% of the time, but it reaches a ceiling. And so he has another reserve. Now, if I was an Oiler fan, I'd be like, Connor, you go get into that reserve of gold. You get your butt over there. Let's dig that up, because there's this well of gold that exists inside of him that will propel him beyond what he thinks he can reach in his maximum.
It's interesting you say that, because I don't know, Jason. I thought, like, in the last game against Florida last year, Connor was just burnt out. Like, it just looked to me like he was tired. And I don't know whether that's emotional, physical, or some combination, but he was.
80-20 rule.
Yeah, they all connect a little bit, do they not, though, Janice? Like a lot of players will talk about that. You become. Matthias Ekholm mentioned it the other day. He goes, you know what? You got a lot of games in a short period of time, and he goes, as much as you'd like, you can't get mentally because you got to play good defense. You need to. It's just hard work. A lot of it, it's way harder work than just figuring out a thing. Yep. But there's a time where you're just like, okay, I'm emotionally spent. I can't convince myself. Like, I know that Michael Jordan, all of his we talked about is and he took that personally, right? Like, he used anything to motivate him in a different way. Maybe it was negative at times, but he found something. Oh, this guy told me that I couldn't do this. Well, I'll show him, right? And he was wired that was his way to do it. So it's probably a little bit a way to tap into that reserve you talked about. Yeah. And he just maybe didn't do it in the way that we know, but there are ways that some people probably do it now without even knowing that they're tapping.
They don't even know that and it's interesting because you mentioned about beating your head against the wall. Like, it will work for a long period of time. So like it's only becomes an Achilles heel. You kind of got to think of it like a drug that loses its effectiveness. If over time it stops working, that's what we know about any good drug. So like, if you beat yourself into submission to work harder than the next guy and it's worked for say 10 of your 15-year career, great. We're not talking about that. What we're saying is have that and this.
Yes.
So we think it's like, oh, you're trading one for the other, that you're not going to be mentally tough. And men think this more than women do, by the way. Men think, well, if I'm mentally tough, I can't be emotional. I can't have emotion too. I got to be this or that. So it's very black and white, which is how the functions of your brain are. But if you actually look at this is a pot of unlimited gold, because the emotional system, once you tap into it, you are 100% then optimized. And at times you're going to use the mental fitness, and at times you're going to push the gas on the emotional, but you'll be aware of what you're doing, which is a very big difference. Most things, like you just said, happen that you didn't know you were. But I equate it, when Jordan went to the rim and all of a sudden it looked like he took another step in the air. He went from here and you're like, that guy can't go higher. And then you watched him, he leaped another one. It was like he had an invisible staircase. That's emotional fitness. That invisible staircase in a human is what everybody has that they don't know they have, and they're not intentionally present using it. So what we're doing with the athletes and also with the world is starting at the bare bones, which is, this is how your emotional system works. This is the pot of gold you've not even spent yet. You're not even tapped into it in a minute. And then we're going to open up that reservoir of gold so that they can shoot and have that extra leap in the air.
So Janice and I think Rich is, I think we're losing his sound. I think he's dying out there. But
sorry. I know. I just was saying, like, Michael Jordan. It's interesting that's Michael Jordan, because as crazy as Dennis Rodman was off of the court and the crazy life he lived, his emotional focus on the court was unbelievable. Like Jordan used to say, he's the player I trust the most with the game. And it's interesting that maybe Dennis needed all that extracurricular activity to get in that state. I don't know.
Well, the other interesting thing about that sort of study from a psychology perspective is that Rodman also fully embraced the role that he was. He didn't fight the role he was. And so he didn't have a disconnection of his identity. He knew exactly who he was in those moments, and he was able to accept it. And that's why he was emotionally sound, because he wasn't he rebounded like better than anyone. He's like, I'm going to be the best damn rebounder in the world, and I'm going to make it an art form, in which he did make it an art form. And you talk to him, he was a tactician. He knew where it was going to go where for a rebound.
Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting because he was.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting because he was like, he just had this incredible belief, and I think everybody that played against him knew, like. Shaq will tell you he's in the top 5-6 players in the game, because outside from Kobe, Jordan, I don't really put LeBron in that category, but at the end of the day, most of the great players who played against him will put Rodman in that category. The ability to control a game because he was emotionally engaged beyond.
Yes.
Because I think
Rich, that's such a great example of that. And the architect of that was Jordan, because he understood the specific roles that needed as part of the whole puzzle piece for him to do what he needed to do. And I think that's what's missing sometimes in the game, is not looking at the whole puzzle pieces of each person playing that role and thriving in it, right? And knowing that that's the role they should be in.
Well, I think, and you think about, if anybody watched The Last Dance, they identify, there's a spot in there where Dennis Rodman in his first season says to Phil Jackson, who embraced all of this stuff and embraced the love stuff we talked about in a previous podcast, he recognized everybody was different. So when Dennis said, I need a vacation in the middle of the season, like hockey coaches would blow a stack. They have no idea for the most part. And he said, well, Dennis, what do you need? And he talked about it. They communicated. He gave him 4 days off in the middle of the season to recharge. Yeah. Of course, Dennis took 7, and that's just Dennis. But when he came back, Janice, nobody said anything. Nobody said anything. Welcome back, Dennis.
Yeah. Because you know what's so interesting about this, and this is where I really like hoping that your podcast, this is the first podcast I've gone on, by the way. So thank you very much for this, because men, I think specifically in athletes, need to think about emotion not as sitting on a couch crying and talking about their feelings. That is not what this is. What this is understanding that it's a reservoir of strength and gold that they have outside of how they think that they've not utilized. That's what emotional fitness is. So if they want to tap in and go to that next level, that's what it is. Now, some, like Jordan, he had it in spades. You know, he had it in spades. I think Tom Brady had it in spades. Like, he brought Gronk with him to Tampa Bay because he knew that that was a puzzle piece that he needed. So, but you also know that he had someone behind and he got ribbed for it on his roast, that he had his person, Alex. But that was also a conduit where he understood his emotional strength with that. So you see some of the really, really great ones embrace that side of them and understand that really profoundly.
Janice Taylor joins us. And
Janice, I just wanted to say this is a great segue to Calvin Pickard, because ultimately I think the Oilers made a terrible mistake. 9-2 in the playoffs, all of that. Last 3 games, .857 save percentage. But the fact that the first thing that happened minutes after Calvin cleared waivers was Draisaitl saying that this was the best teammate they ever had. I think they'll come to the realization, because I don't think the other goalies are that good. They're going to come to the realization, this emotional piece that Calvin Pickard provides, the emotion that drives those players to play better because they love him.
Yeah.
That's a piece that got them to the finals, got them where they are, and they're not getting there without him. And at some point, they'll wake up and figure that out.
Yeah.
And I'll look forward to it.
And
I
I
said,
was gonna say,
Calvin today, I'll see
you
you.
see the dynamic on the Maple Leafs right now, and I'm not going to pick on the Maple Leafs, but 99% of their problem, I'm going to go on the record to say this, is emotional toxicity.
Yeah.
So what's happening there amongst a group of young men who just don't have this mapping, right, is a lot of toxicity. And so when there's too much toxicity, there's not enough mental fitness in the world that actually does that. It erodes itself from the inside out. It's like a cancer. And so when you have too much emotional toxicity and not a balance with it, people get out of balance. And so sometimes when administrations and GMs are making decisions looking at how does he play, what are his minutes, what's this and this, they're forgetting that every team needs an emotional center. I'll say this, an emotional center that actually balances out toxicity. And so I would say, like Jonathan Toews on the Blackhawks, when they went on that run, emotional center.
You're too close to Winnipeg. I disagree with you. That emotional center was a guy named Marian Hossa.
Oh, that was too. Okay, well, he was too, but I would say in that
No,
case,
he wasn't too, Janice. He was. They haven't won
he
a
was
cup.
that.
for
Okay,
50
fine.
they haven't won
I'll
a
say
cup for
because I love
50
Jonathan
years.
Toews. I'm sorry. I should
No,
have said
they haven't won a cup. Janice, they haven't won. This is my expertise. They haven't won a cup. They didn't win a cup for 50 years before he came. And you know what? They haven't made the playoffs.
I'll do a set of burpees for that.
You need multiple pieces to win a cup. I don't think there's just one.
No.
Lots of
But
different.
But there is that inflection. There is that inflection point. Like Toews, Kane, Keith, Seabrook. Oh my gosh!
But if Toews isn't there, does Hossa win without Toews? Probably not. That's my point. Like you can't say that if one guy's if
no, but I'm just talking,
there,
Jason. He is the emotional piece. There's a reason Quenneville. You know what, Janice? There's a reason Quenneville sat him beside Patrick Kane.
Okay, so I will give you that, but I will say it's not about skills or what they do in there. It's that emotional antenna. You know, it's that emotional center that brings that sort of to something like this. But I really hope that whether it's people listening, emotional fitness is completely attainable. You know, I equated.
How do you start it?
So there is a very simple thing. If you go to wilson4q.com, you can go and you can actually start just learning the theory of how your emotional system works. Like no different than you're like, how do I work out? It's no different. Like, what's the fitness? So I think theory is important. I think you need to understand how your emotional system works.
Yeah.
Once you understand how it works, then you can be like, okay, now I want to perfect it. And that's a very distinct process that we actually proved and modeled out so people could start doing that on their own.
Well, the key part when I read it before you came on, Janice, that really resonated me with number one was delayed gratification, because impulsivity, avoidance, difficulty tolerating discomfort, that we try to eliminate that in society, right? Like there's so many parents now, I see it where they're just like, they got to solve everything for their kid and because it's easier. And they think and you're basically like, and this is maybe a bad example. My wife took our 12-year-old son to get his hair cut. Now, guess what? He goes and talks to the hairdresser. Not her. It's not her head. It's not her hair. There was teenage boys, 15. The mother's up there telling her exactly how. So their son just sits there and it's like, what are you teaching your kid? You're teaching him that he's useless and he can't even talk about what type of haircut he wants. It's a very simple thing. But then the other thing was the empathy of the self, the disconnection from one's own needs and the relational conflict with others. That's what emotional fitness is on your way. And that really was something that got me thinking. And I enjoyed reading that on your site. It's something I never really, heard about or was presented in the way that it was. Today in the interview, but also online. And I think it's something on our show, we like to talk a lot of sports. We like to have a lot of fun, but I do think emotional and like mental health at times, this might come out wrong, but I got a little tired of hearing it all the time. Everything was mental health. And I love how you started this interview when you said everybody now has ADHD, right? Because, well, it's not that they have ADHD. It's because our whole society system is teaching you not to have any boredom, to always have to be engaged. And so it's not ADHD, but then you get them on drugs and now they're ruined. And
and then they're on drugs, and then they can't actually heal that ability to because it's numb. So, thank you for saying that, because people think, well, what is empathy? It's not empathy of others. It's empathy of the self. And you think about empathy of the self and the ability to delay gratification are two wheels of the same car. If one goes flat, you don't drive as well. So, but they work together. And so why it's important and what we're denying each other from our society perspective is we're slapping a label on everything that we feel. We are trying to diagnose everything. We're trying to control everything. And at the same time, we're uncomfortable with people being uncomfortable. And it's not helping anyone. It's not helping anyone at all in any regard. We're over-diagnosing, over-explaining. We're not allowed to just have a feeling, period. We're like, why do you feel that way? Well, what is because of this? Oh, I don't feel comfortable with girls. Oh, you must have this. Hey, I don't feel comfortable with this. Oh, you may have this. I don't feel comfortable with this. You may have this. I can't sit still. You have ADHD. We are addicted to explaining things.
Yes.
It's interesting, Jason, just a point of you didn't know what we were going to do for an hour when we talked about love. The only two shows we've done in the last couple of years that we missed the second group of commercials, love and mental fitness. Or emotional fitness. So we got to do more of this because it's really important. Pornography thing's a big thing. We should even do a show on that. There's just a lot of stuff that young men need to hear more about because the impact on their lives is beyond anything they can imagine. And we may be a good place to start for that, because there's a lot we can do here.
You're a pioneer, Rich. You're a pioneer.
Janice.
Well, the simple answer, Jason, if an elite athlete wants to know about this, my number is call us. We're going to introduce them to Janice. Otherwise, your agent who's doing your deal, taking you for dinner and doing absolutely nothing about your career, probably not a great choice.
That's totally fair. Janice, thanks so much for coming on our radio show. We really appreciate it. And we'll stay in touch. Again, for people that are interested to learn more, I highly recommend it.
And I'm sorry I let it fly.
We do want a video of those burpees that Jason can post.
Push-up video for sure. Wilson, the letter 4Q.com, Wilson4Q.com, and we will be in touch, and we're definitely going to have to get you back on, Janice, down the road, because this is definitely a very important topic. Because sports, I love sports. All our listeners love sports, but sports is just one element of life, and I think most of us love life more than we love sports.
Well, and this is what drives sports, Jason, and that's why it's important.
Yeah, very much so. Thanks so much, Janice. Have yourself an awesome day. Thanks, Rich.
Thanks, you.
Take care.
So that's Janice Taylor. And if you missed it, you're just joining us late, I would highly recommend you can go to YouTube and watch it. You can listen to it on the later on in the podcast. But emotional fitness is incredibly important, especially for parents. And hey, guess what? I think at times we overlook the importance of boys in society now more than ever. And that's why I've talked a lot about it. I do a lot of reading on it. I've talked about the book, The Boy Crisis, and I highly recommend to anybody who's never read that to highly read it, especially have boys. And if you don't have boys, you have girls that you hope can meet a good boy. Well, you probably want to read it too for that way. But check out Wilson4Q.com to learn more about emotional fitness and how you can fix it and how you can help it and how you can help your kids be healthier, not just mentally, not physically, but emotionally, which maybe is the most important. Let's take a quick break. Let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. You can fall in love with the Buick. For the month of February, you can lease a 2026 Buick Envision all-wheel drive, 0% down bi-weekly payments of $265. And it includes GST. So check it out at northgategm.com.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Game day is the Edmonton Oilers back in action, taking on the Flames. Puck drop just after 8. We'll have a special 2-hour pregame show with Andrew Walker, Donovan Paulson, and Landon Ferraro here on Sports 1440 starting at 6. Getting going at 5, Panthers will host the Bruins. Blackhawks taking on the Jackets. Jets host the Canadians. Wild in Nashville. You got the Mammoth and the Red Wings. Sharks, Avs, Stars, Blues, Canucks in Vegas, and the Kings taking on the Kraken. Sticking with LA, they've acquired Artemi Panarin from the Rangers for prospect Liam Greentree in the conditional third. Panarin then signed a 2-year, $11 million AAV contract with the team, and the St. Louis Blues trading toward Nick Bukestad to the New Jersey Devils for Thomas Bordeaux and a conditional 4th round pick in 2026. In the WHL tonight, Oil Kings are in Medicine Hat at 7. Also at 7, the Saints hosting Vernon in the BCHL. And in the AJ, you got Devon hosting GP, while Bonneville is in Fort Mac. A lot of trades today in the NBA, including Dallas Mavericks trading 10-time All-Star Anthony Davis, Shaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, Dante Exum to the Washington Wizards for Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Milwaukee Brown, Marvin Bagley III, 2 first and 3 second rounders. On the court, Raptors in action. They'll host the Timberwolves tip off 5:30. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Derek Van Diest from NHL.com. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Top quality flooring, locally owned, and Canadian products from Beaulieu. Yeah, that's CFI.
CFI what?
No, CFI, Custom Floors Inc.
From free estimate to professional installation, contact
So I
Custom
made
Floors Inc.
Wilson
at
too, but you really are
customfloorsinc.ca.
like the digital method
Your
to know that
all-access
they're
path to the
okay.
world of sports is Edmonton's
Nothing wrong
best
with that.
sports radio station.
That's not what they need to
Pre- and
do. They
post-game
need
hockey
to
shows
sorry
to
to go on and on.
No,
about this,
I love it.
Favorite commentators.
Come on. For lack of a better term, it's just like, and it's
Scott
fucking
McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, next certified
for lack of a better
delivery
term,
containers.
it's just
Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water
4 o'clock.
tastes great.
Welcome back. It
Get
is game
started
day.
with a
Sports
free
14.
in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan,
Sports
water you
1440,
love.
Sports.
McValue breakfast meals are $5 plus tax every day. Get a sausage McMuffin, bagel with cream cheese product,
fascinating
or breakfast burrito with
conversation.
hash brown and small coffee, all for just $5 plus taxes. Available until 11 a.m. at Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
These days, it's all about who you know. And that's why it's the perfect time to save at the Bricks Friends and Family Sale. Upgrade your living room in time for the big game and score free delivery on TVs over 50 inches, like a Samsung 85-inch 4K Smart TV
Right,
for just
because- well, it's not that they have
$9.99, and save up to $1,200 off sofas and sectionals. And mix and match and save up to $1,000 off 2 or more major appliances. Some exclusions apply. Check out the Brick in Edmonton South Common, West Edmonton Mall, North Side on 137th, and downtown near the Ice District.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Riverside Honda, 59 years and counting, is St. Albert and surrounding areas' premier Honda and Can-Am dealer. It's your dream. Ride it at riversidehonda.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 5 o'clock. Big thanks again to Janice for joining us. If you missed that interview, I want to check it out. Parents, everybody, her example about women breastfeeding with their phone and breastfeeding and looking on their phone and what's that's doing for their kids, and they don't even think about it. I get it, I understand it. Right, and we do that all the time. Oh, here, give your kid a phone just so they'll calm down. Oh, geez, they can't sit there and be bored. God, that was part of it. Like, hey, I'm bored. Yeah, so what? Figure it out. Be bored. And that's actually helping us emotionally regulate, rather than having to watch some video on YouTube. Right? What do they call them? Shorts, and they're watching all the time. Oh, got to be on it. Like, this is important stuff for athletes, right? It's interesting how you just look at our school curriculum. We have less and less movement time and more just sitting. It's not good. And we need more people to want to say, hey, we're not going in the right direction. And I love the people like Janice that, gets a degree and really looks at it and deeply diving into emotional fitness, the network of biological, physiological, social processes that generate, regulate, and express emotions, powering every dimension of health and daily life. And when you think about it, when you work out and when you go for a walk, right? It's the most simple thing. Just go for a walk. Right? Now go for a walk, but don't walk with your phone out. Just go for a walk and see the difference in how you feel. It's the easiest way to test it and show you that you're like, oh, I got to go for a walk so I can walk and look at my phone. It's not as good. Not as good as all. Now, Gregor Show is always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Of course, the OG of lotteries, $6.49. Some of you have won. Maybe some of you will win tonight. Get your tickets. PlayAlberta.ca. 24 million. No one won last night, so Lotto Max is up to 30 mil. Get now to the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialists. From running water to freeways, making you move without even knowing it. GS Construction. Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, how you doing?
Good, man. What's going on?
Oh, buddy, had a great interview with Janice Taylor and Rich Winter there. Learned a lot, which I always like.
Caught the last end of that. Sounded fascinating.
What it is very fascinating. What is going on is the Oilers penalty kill. I know if you look at it along the season, all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, their penalty kill is not good. But it's very misleading. Their penalty kill to the first 51 games was 11th best in the NHL. It was extremely consistent. The first 2 months of the year, 80.6%, which was 26 games. The next 25 games, 80.6%. Identical. Can't get much more consistent than that. And they were 11th best. Now they've hit the ditch and have allowed 8 goals in their last 18 kills. And last night, kind of crushed them. Now, it's a 5-on-3 for a full minute and 54 seconds. Pretty hard to kill that off. And I want to get to Matthias Janmark. And you know me, Spec, I don't really talk about the fourth liners. I don't think they're that much of a difference maker. But at some point, you cannot continually ice a player in your lineup who cannot score. He's got 7 goals in his last 192 games, right? Everybody's like, oh, Andrea Mangiapane isn't doing very much. Andrea Mangiapane has 6 goals this year. Doesn't play as much as Janmark. Janmark has 6 goals on a goalie in the last 2.5 seasons. He's penalty killing an average of 1.5 minutes a game. You're telling me that you got to keep him in a game for 1.5 minutes? You can't find Kapanen or Podkolzin to take those minutes on the penalty kill?
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I'm not coming on here to defend Matthias Janmark's offensive numbers, that's for sure. This is probably the great example of a guy that has his coach's trust. He doesn't score many, but he doesn't give up many. The mistake he made last night. I mean, listen, I don't ever get on players for split-second mistakes like that. That wasn't like, he looked around and made a bad play. Matthews was holding him. He tried to get past him. His stick caught the guy. That's going to happen. I'm not leaning on Janmark for that penalty. He did have the wherewithal to come out after the game and said, I cost us the game. I like that. But anyhow, my point would be this, Jay. What's he given up? What's he given up? I know he's not getting many, but he's the guy the coach trusts because you can put him out in situations. The puck doesn't end up in your net. He makes the right play. There's that guy on every team, right? Every team has that guy, and he's Edmonton's. It's what he is. When the playoffs comes, somehow his production goes up a little bit, and he's still a valuable defensive player, killing penalties. So, you know what? Unless I got a guy that does what he does way better, he's going to play for me. He's a better player than Trent Frederick every day, all day, every week, all month.
Fun stat for you, Spec. Trent Frederick, goals against per 60, 2.36. Matthias Janmark, goals against per 60, 2.36 at 5-on-5. So Frederick's played more games, a little bit more physical. But then a guy like Curtis Lazar, he's 1.97. So if I'm looking at it from just a forward line, I say, hey, well, I can play Lazar, right? Curtis Lazar has 3 goals this year already, Spec. All I'm saying is I don't see Janmark, like last year, I didn't like what Knobloch did to Mangiapane last night. I didn't like it at all. Mangiapane was the most engaged forward in the first period. It wasn't even close.
It was not even close. Period.
And you get into the second period, he comes down the right side in the offensive zone, stops, which is what this team does a lot. And Tavares makes a good play and taps the puck off a stick. Mangiapane didn't try a dangerous between the pass or anything. Tavares just tapped it off a stick, for God's sakes.
He gave the puck away. He gave the puck away.
Well, I didn't give it away, Spec. The guy took it from him, but he stopped. Was he making a dangerous play? Yes or no?
No. Take care of the puck. Your team's changing. Your team's changing. They're counting on you.
Whoa. You just said, well, hey, Janmark, I'm not going to get a guy for a split-second decision. Janmark, take care of your stick then. You can't tell me that he doesn't have to take care of his stick, but he's got to take care of the puck. What the hell's the difference?
There's a huge difference, right? Mangiapane brings the puck in the zone. He knows, or he's supposed to know. I don't know how the Oilers work. He goes right by their bench. He knows everyone's changing. All the sole job he's got on that line rush is hang on to the puck long enough so we can make this change. And he blows it. And the whole play comes up the other way. Wallman's skating at the guy. He doesn't know if he should touch him. If he shouldn't touch him, he's going to take a penalty, right? Mangiapane blew that play. So I agree with you. He was the best Oiler in the first period. I'd like to see him get some traction just for the sake of him because he's had a rough year. But he made a cardinal sin on that play. And you know why the coach sat him? Because I'm here to tell you, he's probably made that same mistake about 10 times this year. And Coach Chris Knobloch is sick and tired of looking at the same guy making the same mistake and costing his team the same way. Can't stand it anymore. You make that mistake when you're on your Mangiapane, you sit. And that's the way it works.
Yeah. I don't know. The guy who's going the best, because how did it help your team? Because your fourth line were they even noticeable in the second period after that? I don't think so. So when you got one line going well, and you know what? Okay, it's a mistake, but there's lots of guys in this team that make a lot of mistakes repeatedly. They don't ever get sat down. Like I get, hey, the coach doesn't like the player, but I'm just looking. Matthias Janmark, we can talk about it all day long, but he doesn't produce anything. He produces nothing, and there's guys giving up less than him. Why is Curtis Lazar out of the lineup instead of Matthias Janmark? There's no rhyme or reason for that. None. And all I'm like, to me, when I see Janmark and I see the mistake again, because that penalty, by the way, Spec, go watch the Vegas Game 5 playoffs. It's the exact same penalty. The cost, and they went 5-on-3, right? They went 5-on-3. So it's just eerily familiar to me. But and hey, Janmark's not the reason why the Oilers went 5-7-1 on a homestand, but I think at times the coach in this 3-week break has to take a step back and look and say, how is this guy ultimately helping us? How is he helping us? Because his minutes on the penalty kill aren't enough to say he's an everyday player in the lineup. He's dealing still with a little bit of a shoulder injury, Spec. Watch tonight if he plays. Well, he's probably going to play. He never sits out. Watch him tonight and watch how often you see him stand up in a battle and doesn't lean his shoulder in. I still think he's got a shoulder issue and he's a little tentative and he's upright more and he's losing more battles than he ever has before. Just my thought.
That's fair. You know what? And every player, Father Time's undefeated, right? Janmark's got a lot of miles on him here. And is he slowing down? You know what? He's still got his legs. He's still a pretty good skater.
Oh, he can still skate, no question.
He can still really skate. So that's what keeps him in the lineup. The minute that goes, he's out of the league. Listen, I'm here to tell you, coaches find guys that they like more than other guys. They find guys they trust more than other guys. And from the outside, we look at it and go, how is this? How does this work? And I get it. I'm not going to defend Janmark's production. There's nothing to defend, right? There's no production, but he has found a way to gain the trust of this coach. And if, that's all I got for you. I really don't have much more. The coach likes him and he gets to play. The coach has watched Mangiapane. He wishes he likes Mangiapane because his GM spent a bunch of money on him, but he doesn't like Mangiapane. It's the way it is.
Yeah, no, fair. The Oilers at home, dreadful. 5-7. They won 5 out of 13 home games.
Yeah, January was awful, right?
Well, January
since Christmas.
Yeah, but even into February, because they lost last night, and it started on New Year's when they came back, New Year's Eve, right? That was the game. Started there. You go 5-7-1. You face a lot of teams on the second half of back-to-backs or third and four nights. And, man, they laid way too many eggs here in the last 6 weeks. Not even 6 weeks, last 5.5 weeks at home ice.
Yeah, well, what I think we've learned about these Oilers, like for me anyway, it's kind of like a golf swing. People have a sort of something in their golf swing that makes it all work. If I start it a certain way, the rest of my swing is going to be good. People have. I'll say this: to me, the Oilers, until they play strong defensive hockey and cut down on the chances at both ends of the rink, until the chances come down, they're not the good team we watch win playoff rounds. The Oilers are better in a game where the high danger chances are 6-5 than they are when they're 12-11. When it's run and gun, we love to watch it. We're blessed in Edmonton with a team and a bunch of guys that can play 6-5 hockey, and I want to watch that just like everybody. But I'm here to tell you, until they get to the point, right? Until they get to the point where they're playing low event hockey and they're saying to the other guys, look, we're not splitting up 15 high dangers. We're splitting up 9. And we think we can get to 3 before you can get to 3 because we got more talent. That's when they're at their best. That's when they win the most. It's when they're hardest to play against. It's when their goalies have a chance to be good. And right now they're playing 5-4 hockey, 6-5 hockey, man. They played it all month long. They played 6-5 hockey all month long. And how's their record? Not very good.
Yeah, no, it's very fair. They go to Calgary tonight. My God, if you can't beat the Calgary Flames, Spec, you got a real problem. The Flames can't score to save their life. They're literally averaging 2 goals a game in 2026. They're not a high offensive team, but they've beaten the Oilers 2 out of 3 times this year. So the Oilers, they can't sleepwalk through this. Maybe the only saving grace is the games in Calgary, where the Oilers have been much better on the road lately than they have been at home.
Yeah, I think they're 5-1 in their last 6 down here. And listen, it's on the Oilers. They're a way better team than Calgary. But you know what? They're a better team than Toronto too, right? And Toronto's, I thought Edmonton, up until those penalties, Edmonton had a territorial advantage. If I had to tell you who was a better team in that game at the 7-minute mark of the third period, I would have said Edmonton. It was 2-2. And then, boom, they implode. They take 2 penalties and can't kill either one. So, they're a better team than Calgary. It doesn't mean Calgary can't win the game tonight. But Edmonton, if you're a better team, you got to play like one. You got to take advantage. Your power play's got to wake up. They have a really good power play, but it hasn't been really good lately. And you got to, they've got a better defense than Calgary has by a country mile. Well, play like it, right? Play a better defensive system. Don't go in here and try to beat Calgary 6-1. Try beating them 3-1. See what happens.
Did you see we'll switch over to Gavin McKenna, who he's being basically got in a bar fight to summarize it. I see all the charges, everything like that, but
outside the bar, it sounds like, no?
Just outside the bar, punched some kid in the face, broke his jaw. Now he's being, aggravated assault because of it. Bad decision, no question. As much as you want to sock the idiots, sometimes you have to control yourself and not do it. I guess it'll depend. What I know, people are like, oh, he could face 20 years in jail. I'm like, man, be surprised. To me, Spec, if I had to look in the tea leaves, I will say out of court, this one gets settled and the victim gets paid some money.
Yeah, that's very likely where this is going. Hey, when you're Gavin McKenna, you're not the same. You're not Mark Spector or Jason Gregor. And when you're, and even you and I, when I walk in the rink, I'm here to tell you, I walk from my parking lot to the rink. 19 out of 20 people say, "Hey, Spec," and I say, "Hey, man, how are you?" And there's always one guy that says something that makes that, "Hey, Spec, you're this," or "Hey, Spec, you're that." We signed up for this, right? We signed up to have people know who we are when we walk through the rink. And Gavin McKenna, like it or not, signed up for coming out of a bar and having some drunk loudmouth guy, perhaps, I don't know this, but perhaps chirp him and say, "Hey, McKenna, blah, blah, blah." He signed up for it, man. And that's his life going forward. So if you think every time some guy says something you don't like or chirps you, you get to punch him in the face, well, we're all learning that lesson right now, aren't we? Gavin McKenna's learned that lesson, and he is not feeling great right now. I'll tell you that this moment.
Do you think it will impact his draft status?
The facts of the case have to come out more before I would say that for sure. I mean, I got to know more about it. I got to know more. If he just had a few too many and some guy chirped him and he punched him in the head in the hockey world, no, right? In the hockey world, I don't think so. There are other ramifications around this thing that I won't get into that could severely hurt his draft status. I haven't seen any of them in this file yet, but we don't know much about it.
And the other big on-ice news today, the LA Kings. They give up Greentree, good young prospect, but they get Artemi Panarin for this year, and they get him for 2 more years. They sign him to an extension at $11 million. So, that he signed a 2-year deal tells me, you know what, he wanted a different opportunity. Well, obviously, he wants to go to California, goes to the LA Kings. They're going to lose Kopitar at the end of the season when he retires. But Panarin brings them a legit high-end offensive player. But here's my question, Spec.
Yeah.
Can you be an offensive player in LA's system?
Well, a couple things here. They need a centerman, first of all. Like, there's not enough centerman there for Kempe. Kopitar, walk-in Hall of Famer, but he's not a first-line center. That's what he's playing there right now. Byfield, he's a nice player. We're always waiting for Byfield, right? We're always thinking, man, look at that package. Is he going to be good? Well, he ain't there yet, and he's not what I would call a distributing center, right? No. Byfield isn't going to put it on a platter for Panarin, 3 times a game. So I think Kenny Holland is going to change the system and change his coach this summer. I don't think that Jim Hiller will be the coach of that team next year. I also think that the LA Kings' absolute priority upon the retirement of Anze Kopitar for the season, they got to go find a first or second line centerman. They need centers there. So I don't know what the free agent market looks like this summer. We don't know who's going to get signed, what's going on. But I guess I'd say to you this, Jay. Today, the answer to your question is no. The start of next season, if they get a centerman and put a coach in there who's actually going to play the game, maybe.
Yeah, well, that's what they'll need for sure. But it gives them what they need and makes it a little spicier in the Pacific Division right now. And because Panarin over last decade, top 10 scorer in the NHL. Like he can bring some offense to a team that is desperate for offense.
Him and Kempe both need centermen. Like there's 2 of the top wingers in the game today. Like, holy cow, you got Kempe and Panarin coming at you. If you put the right center in there, I don't know if you play them together or what you do, but holy cow, there's some firepower there for sure, man.
Spec, have yourself a wonderful day. We will chat with you tomorrow. Enjoy the game tonight.
I will for sure. Thanks, Jay.
There you go. That's Mark Spector, the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. We'll take a quick break. We will return. DVD joins us. It's the Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
The job won't wait. Why should you? At AWS Welding Supplies and Repairs, conveniently located in Nisku, we've got everything you need to get it done. From product sales to servicing and calibrating machines, we're your one-stop shop. We're a proud, locally owned and operated business, committed to serving our community with a proven track record of customer service. Don't let a broken tool slow you down. We offer fast repairs and free same-day delivery of in-stock items to Leduc, Nisku, and South Edmonton. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
Ooh, girl, the way you touch that thermostat, it really turns me on. Like a heat exchanger, sensual phenomenon. Wanna play your favorite song when we turn the heating on like a legacy of love.
Legacy Heating and Cooling keeps your Valentine sizzling hot. You can afford to shower your Valentine with affection because Legacy offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. And that's how you build your legacy of love. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today. At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru. Engineered for Canadian winters, built for real-life confidence. Tackle the ice and snow with Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive, delivering the power, control, stability, and grit you need. And when the temperature plummets, you'll cruise in comfort with heated seats and heated steering wheel. All this plus peace of mind with Subaru's top safety pick status for 19 years running. This winter, it's time to get you into a Subaru. Visit Subaru.ca today.
A huge thank you for making Sports 1440 the most listened to sports radio station in Edmonton. From Gregor to Carius to Low Tide, we've got in-depth analysis on all your favorite sports. We are Sports 1440.
Portion of this hour brought to you by EWEL. Get your power play amped up with EWEL, supplying the City of Champions and Alberta with quality electrical gear since 1975. EWEL.ca is your partner in power.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
.533, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Welcome back. Game day, Oilers taking on the Calgary Flames. Tonight, the Oilers need a win to go into the Olympic break, feeling at least a little bit better about themselves and keep pace. Vegas, of course, in action tonight. The Oilers, and not only keep pace with Vegas, as they both sit with 64 points. The Ducks are right behind them with 63 points. You got the Kraken with 61 points. They have 2 games in hand on the Oilers. The Kings have 60 points. They got 3 games in hand on the Oilers. The Oilers need some wins here. Because you come out of all of a sudden, you come out of that Olympic break and you stub your toe in Anaheim and LA, you'd wake up in 9th place. So they need a win tonight. You're playing the Calgary Flames. They are what? 3rd worst team in the NHL? One of the worst teams over the last 2 months. You have to find a way to win. To me, it is that simple. You need to find a way to win the game. As we get to the oil report brought to you by Go Auto. Want to shop vehicles? GoAuto.ca. 15,000 vehicles to choose from. You will find one that works for you at GoAuto.ca. as we're joined by Derek Van Dies from NHL.com. And DVD, the Edmonton Oilers on home ice has been like they've been a really good home ice team for the last few years. But, man, this year they can't really seem to get out of their own way. And they've gone 5-7-2 in their last 13 home games dating back to New Year's Eve.
Yeah, they were talking about how important that 8-game stretch was going to be and how they had an opportunity to move up to standings and kind of distance themselves from kind of those wild card teams. And everyone kind of expected them to do it. They looked at the schedule, looked favorable. They had a bunch of teams coming in here on the second game of a back-to-back. And basically, for lack of a better term, they just dropped the ball. They just were not able to take advantage of a situation that was basically gifted to them, especially with so many teams having to play in Calgary the night before and coming up here. Like, you look at the Leafs, they had an 8:00 start in Calgary, and then they had a 6:30 start here in Edmonton. Like, they should have been a pretty, I know it's not a long trip from Calgary to Edmonton, but the Oilers should have been all over that, but They weren't. And that was the situation, is that they started late in these games, and then they ended up chasing these games. And now you got McDavid and Draisaitl on the ice for 25 minutes a night. And the other guys are, they just get lost in the rotation. They can't contribute because they're not out there. So it just, they kind of shot themselves in the foot here, and it's an opportunity that they missed. Luckily for them, the division is really struggling. Like, this division, no one can string together a bunch of wins. Like Anaheim did, but then they made up some ground. But then it's just a matter of, the Oilers, they've only won 3 games in a row once all season, and we're 50-some games into the year. It's absolutely ridiculous when you think of that's their longest win streak, has been 3 games this year, especially when they were handed this on a platter, this opportunity. And they should have won 6, maybe 7 of those games. And to be honest, Jason, they were lucky to go 4-4 because they had to have the miracle comeback to win the one game, and they were basically chasing the other. So it's just it's one of those things that they're going to have to look at this stretch of, if things go wrong towards the end of the year, they're going to look at this stretch and go, wow, that was an opportunity lost by us. And I agree with you. They have to win this game in Calgary. They have to win that game. And at least they're going in the break feeling good about themselves.
Yeah, well, you got to win some games that you should win, for goodness sakes. And hey, maybe the fact that it's on the road will help them out.
Yeah, maybe it will. And who knows what state Calgary's in right now. It's tough because you're looking at a 2-week break here, and you're wondering, and all the guys that aren't going to the Olympics have plans. They're probably all going to be on a beach in Mexico or wherever in the next couple of days. So they all have plans with their families, and maybe their minds are on that. It's a long break, and it's been a grind to get to this point. And I know that, we're talking about the grind. It was just going to the rink every day for the month. Like, it was one of those things that there was just a game after game after game. So, if they can take advantage of that, the owners know how important this game is for them. And they know that there's a lot of guys that want to go into the break feeling good about themselves and playing well. And we're seeing snippets of it. I thought the third and fourth lines were starting to get some traction. They just weren't able to score, but I think they're doing a lot of good things. And then Evan Bouchard's game looked like it was turning around. So they were doing a lot of good things. It's just a matter of now just focus on this one last game, and then everyone can go their separate ways starting tomorrow morning.
Derek Van Diest joins us. DVD, what did you make of Knobloch's decision to sit Mangiapane, after whatever turnover, giveaway, whatever term you want to use, on the Toronto's first goal, despite him being the best forward in the first period?
Yeah, I didn't like it. And, that's kind of really playing with a guy's head. Like, how many atrocious turnovers has Evan Bouchard made in the last little while, and he goes out the next shift? Leon Draisaitl will throw a backhand sauce up the middle, come back the other way. He gets out there on the next shift. I understand that, if you're going to hold a player accountable, you have to hold all the players accountable. And I think that's the issue there. And it looks like he's picking and choosing. And yeah, Mangiapane was involved. That's the type of play that they want from him. He was kind of stirring it up. He was in there. He was mixing it up. I thought, you're right. I thought he was the best Oiler in the first period. And then, it was an atrocious mistake in a sense that he was just, it was not good awareness, knowing that, not realizing that half the team was going on a line change and dropping it back to zone blue line instead of getting the puck deep. That's a mistake. But if you make a mistake and you don't get back out there, it just compounds the mistake, and you just start thinking about it more and more and more and more. And the way I look at it, Jason, like, I know when I played football and I was quarterback of a football team and I threw a ball and a receiver dropped it, you have to go right back to that receiver. because you want him to forget about that. You want him to forget about that mistake, or else you've lost him for the game. And basically, Knobloch lost him for the game. And now, who knows what kind of reaction you're going to have from him. But if you're going to hold guys accountable like that, if you're going to, a guy made a mistake, he's not going to see the ice. Like, Bouchard should have been benched a bunch of times this year. Draisaitl should have been benched a bunch of times this year. Other guys have to be held to the same standard. And I think that's the thing that bothered me the most. Yes, it was a bad mistake, but you got to give him an opportunity to learn from it. You got to give him an opportunity to get back out on the ice and try and make up for it. You don't just sit him on the bench and make him sulk for a period.
Yeah, I just found it kind of odd, especially the way he played. Now, hey, Mangiapane's not going to be the difference maker, but he was engaged. And for a team that, especially when Matthias Ekholm admitted it, and I appreciated his honesty, that, it's hard to get emotionally up for every game. Right? And you've got to be emotionally up to play good defensively. So you had a guy who was emotionally up, and to me, he just kind of neutered him off of a one play. And it wasn't like a blatant, terrible giveaway. Yes, you're right. You got to get the puck deep. He stopped at the the hash marks, and yeah, you got to protect the puck better. But Tavares also did make a good play, came in and took the puck off of him. It wasn't like he just, served up a pizza and said, here you go, give it to the other guy. I thought it was a little bit harsh at that point. And it took that fourth line, because their effectiveness, I didn't really notice them after that.
No, you're right, because they lost a part of that fourth line, and they work together as a unit. And you take a third of that unit away, and you punish one guy, for making a mistake. It's going to affect the rest of the other two guys on that line, especially when they're playing as well as they were playing and getting involved. That game had a lot of emotion, obviously with the hit with McDavid and the center ice. They need those guys to generate that. You need Mangiapane to be that pest. And if he's going to walk the fine line, if you say, listen, you got to be a pest. You got to get in there, stir things up. You got to mix things up. You're going to take a penalty every now and then. Now he's going to thinking, well, if I'm getting punished for not getting the puck in deep on a play, what if I go in there and take a dumb penalty because I'm trying to stir things up, get some emotion? So it's just really messing with the player's head, in my opinion. I just think, these guys are adults. And the one thing I know that when you talk to players, you've talked to them, I've talked to them, they know when they've made a mistake. They don't have to be shown up. They don't have to be told, yes, I made a mistake. Then just get back out there and try to remedy that mistake. And I think that's the one thing. I was with you. I was really surprised that he didn't see the ice until third period.
Yeah, me too. Looking ahead to tonight, the Calgary Flames. They get Devin Cooley, the Oilers do, and Cooley's been really good for Calgary this year. And tonight will be his 16th start of the year. 10 of those have come against playoff teams, so it's not like he's getting served the bottom feeders. He's not facing only Vancouver and the Rangers, and he's put up really good numbers. And the Flames, the one thing they do is they got to commit to defense because they can't score, right? Like we had Pinder on earlier, and like Jonathan Huberdeau goes, at this point, he's just out there getting cardio. Like he's not a threat at all. So we'll see kind of what it is. But if you're the Oilers, like you can't take this Flames team lightly. They've already beat you 2 out of 3 times.
No, exactly. And yeah, you're right about the Flames. They need really good goaltending, and they've been getting it for the most part. And you talk about teams having to grind out 2-1, 3-2 wins. That's the Flames, because they're not going to score. They're not going to outscore. You're not going to score a ton of goals. They're going to capitalize on the powerful opportunities when they get them. But they play a very structured, very defensive game. They're looking for you to make mistakes. And, it's going to be a situation where the Oilers, they're going to take the play to the Flames, but they just got to keep the mistakes to a minimum. And when you make a mistake, don't compound them and make it a second and a third and a fourth. And I think that's when the Oilers get in trouble. But, yeah, no, Cooley is a fine goaltender. I think they got pretty good tandem there going on in Calgary. Dustin Wolf obviously is the number one. But, yeah, their goaltenders have to be on every game in order for them to win. And if they're off even just slightly, that's when they get in trouble, because you're right. They don't have the offense yet. They don't have that offensive spark, and they got to find it somewhere. And who knows what's happened? Like what happens if Kadri gets traded later on this year, if they decide to go a different direction. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this hockey team.
Lastly, what did you make of Josh Szymanski? And do you think he's done enough to potentially earn a spot, or is there just they, I can make an argument, send down some other veterans and keep Szymanski as a fourth line guy? I've really liked him in the limited minutes he's played.
No, I think there's a player there. And I think I mentioned this to someone up there in the press box, that I think I like his size. He's a very good skater. And it's just a matter of him kind of getting used to the speed of the game at this level. And I think he can play at that level. And I think you saw it from the first game to the second game to the third game. He's gaining a little bit more confidence now. He's holding the puck a little longer, when he first was up here, he'd get the puck and just give it to someone right away. Didn't want to get caught with it. But I do think there's a player there, and I like his size and I like his skating ability. And then you can kind of put him in that role. And if you want a guy that kind of maybe mucks it up a little bit, he could be that guy as well. So I think if there's an opportunity to keep him here, they'll keep him here. And I think him going to the Olympics is going to be a huge thing for the Edmonton Oilers. He's going to go there, regardless of how many games he plays. He's going to play against incredibly high level competition. The game's going to be so fast, and I think he's going to come back, and he's going to come back a better player for it. So I think this is a good thing for the Oilers, and it was a good thing to bring him up and give him a taste of it, and say, hey, go play at the Olympics and have fun. And if you want to earn your spot, you got to earn your spot. But I think there is a player there in Szymanski.
DVD, enjoy the game tonight, buddy. Have a good one.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
There you go. That's Derek Van Dies from NHL.com. We'll come back, wrap things up. Of course, the Oilers taking on the Calgary Flames tonight. Walker and Paulson coming up on the pregame show and the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 furnace replacement company for lovers. Because the best aphrodisiac is no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace from Legacy. So forget about the oysters, baby. If you really want to check the heat, we can be a thermal couple, baby. Give me your sweet loving legacy. Heat things up with no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Made for some rough roads, but it means trails are now packed and ready for action.
Don't miss out on riding adventures this winter with a Ski-Doo from Riverside Honda and Ski-Doo. Work or play with new 2026 Generation 5 models with class-leading design and power. And right now, take advantage of 5.99% financing OAC. Only at Riverside Honda and Ski-Doo. 15 Inglewood Drive in St. Albert. And always at riversidehonda.com. Shop local, shop Canadian.
McValue breakfast meals are $5 plus tax every day. Get a sausage McMuffin, bagel with cream cheese product, or breakfast burrito with hash brown and small coffee, all for just $5 plus taxes. Available until 11 a.m. at Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
These days, it's all about who you know. And that's why it's the perfect time to save at the Bricks Friends and Family Sale. Upgrade your living room in time for the big game and score free delivery on TVs over 50 inches, like a Samsung 85-inch 4K smart TV for just $999. And save up to $1,200 off sofas and sectionals. And mix and match. Save up to $1,000 off 2 or more major appliances. Some exclusions apply. Check out the Brick in Edmonton South Common, West Edmonton Mall, North Side on 137th, and downtown near the Ice District.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada. Properties include the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility in Nisku, features 2 sheets of ice, a 1,600-seat arena, as well as Summit Restaurant. Learn more at silentice.com.
Exciting news from St. Albert Dodge. The all-new 2026 Jeep Gladiator Sport packages have arrived. They have a great selection and a bunch of colors to choose from. And if you've checked out the Sport, you know it comes in some fun colors. Rugged capability, practical off-road features, and you can get behind the wheel for as low as $49,900. That's right. Put yourself in a brand new Jeep Gladiator Sport for less than $50,000. What more can you ask for? Time to head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Measles outbreaks are occurring in Canada, including Alberta. These outbreaks are highly preventable. Measles is an extremely contagious disease that is spread easily through the air. The best way to protect yourself, your family, and your community is to ensure you are up to date with your immunizations. Don't get measles. Get immunized. Visit alberta.ca/measles to find out if you're up to date and what to do if you're not. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Do you know that Japa offers in-house and on-site service Rain or shine, Japa's service department is here for you. Get a quote now at japamachinery.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
It is the final countdown, final few days. The Olympics are coming up. Should be exciting. I can't wait. As games tonight, there are 10, and then there are 7 games tomorrow night. Early games. What did I say, boys and girls? Get on that Columbus Blue Jackets train. Oilers fans, I know you're not going to like it because it means no Boone Jenner and no Charlie Coyle. But the Blue Jackets are surging, and they're winning again. 2-0 over the Chicago Blackhawks after 20 minutes. Also, could the Boston Bruins, would that be the dagger tonight? So the Bruins are currently in 8th place in the Eastern Conference. They hold down the final wild card spot. They have 68 points. They played 56 games. They're taking on the Florida Panthers tonight. Boston wins in regulation. They would move to 70 points. And the Panthers would be 11 points out of 8th place, with Columbus ahead of them, Toronto ahead of them, Washington ahead of them, Ottawa, even Philly is ahead of the Panthers. The Panthers might be done now, Connor Halley, but I'll say this. They lose tonight in regulation to the Boston Bruins. Good night, Irene. I don't see how you're not going to make up that many games in that period of time. I'm sorry. I just 11 points to make up in 25, 26 games. It's because not only do you got to make up the points, the Bruins or the Canadian, a few teams got to really hit the skids. It's a double whammy. Double whammy. I think this would be huge. Huge for the Boston Bruins. And really, not just for the Bruins, but you're helping out Montreal, who's taking on the Jets. So imagine if the Canadians win tonight, which very much they could. Right? Then the Canadians themselves, they win that game. They're 13 points up on the Panthers. So yeah, you could slay the 2-time defending champ tonight, potentially. I know it wouldn't be official, but man, that would be a real big swing of the hammer, putting the nail into the coffin tonight for the Boston Bruins. Big time. Big time. So. Hey, guys, crazy stat. People are saying how Janmark, his last 200 games in Oilers, he has 3 goals and aren't empty nets. Well, that's not true. In the last 3 seasons, 8. We're going to deal in facts. Last 3 years, Janmark's played 192 games. Not great in the regular season. He has 7 goals. One of them is an empty net. So he has 6 with a goalie in the net. Still not great. Andrew Mangiapane, for all the slack he gets, he has 6 goals this season. He hasn't played 50 games. He's been a healthy scratch. So, Janmark, Janmark right now watch him go out and score a goal tonight, but he's been a complete and utter non-factor offensively for the Edmonton Oilers. Yeah, skates hard, does all those things, but if you're ever thinking, hey, we need a goal, and he's on the ice, it's not going to happen. That's just how it is. Coming up, Walker and Paulson, an extended 2-hour edition of the pregame show. Oilers taking on the Calgary Flames. Let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. No overtime charges. Furnace kicks out tonight or on the weekend. Call Legacy. They'll come fix it. No OT. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
It's game day. Oilers Flames down in Calgary. Puck drop just after 8 o'clock. We've got pregame coverage coming your way next with Andrew Walker, Donovan Paulson, and Landon Ferraro on the ice after 20 minutes. Blue Jackets up on the Blackhawks 2-0. Canadians and Jets tied at 1. And with about a minute left in the first, Bruins lead the Panthers 2-1. Later tonight, Wild in Nashville. Avs host the Sharks. Got the Red Wings and the Mammoth. Stars up against the Blues. Canucks in Vegas, and the Kings hosting the Kraken. Artemi Panarin has been traded to LA for Liam Greenstreet and a conditional third from the Rangers. He then signed a 2-year, $22 million deal. Not expected to play tonight, but could get into the action tomorrow night. In the WHL, the Oil Kings are in Medicine Hat. In the BCHL, Saints will host Vernon at 7. And in the AJ Devon hosting Grand Prairie, Albanyville is in Fort Mac. From the association, big day when it comes to trades. The Mavericks trading 10-time All-Star Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, Dante Exum for the Washington Wizards for Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley III, 2 first-round picks, and 3 second-rounders. Also, Philadelphia 76ers trading guard Jaron McCain to the Oklahoma City Thunder for a 2026 first-round pick and 3 second-rounders. That's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, pre-game coverage with Andrew Walker. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Yes, it's Sports 1440.
A Stingray radio station.